Hey, what's going on? How you doing? Let's see. I think we only have one person in the chat so far. Hopefully, everybody's having a good day. We're going to let everybody load in for a moment, and then we are going to get started. I know that this is kind of a break from some of my normal material, just meaning that usually I do Sister Wives, and I've focused so heavily on Sister Wives that I kind of got away from the 90-Day Fiance, which is actually the reality show that I started with, ironically enough. So it's kind of funny that a lot of folks don't like to tune in for it. Hey, what's going on, Mace Chili? What's happening? Okay, I see some folks are loading in. This is awesome. Thanks for coming in. I was just giving a little time for everybody to get geared in, and then we'll get started. I have some, it'll be a little quirky, a little rough tonight, just to let you guys know. I was having some problems per usual. The Kremlins apparently don't like me doing 90-Day Fiance stuff either, so there's that. But hopefully everybody's having a great afternoon, great evening, great day so far. Just trying to get everything up and running so that we can have a good time. Can you guys hear me? Give me a 1 in the chat if you guys can hear me and everything that's going on. I am going to put, this way. I'm going to put the chat in the chat box. I was so busy setting other stuff up that I neglected to do that. So I will get on that right now so that folks can see what folks have to say. And we will be awesome per usual. Let me see that one. Put that down there like that there. All right. And pop up. Do this. Yeah, guys. Hopefully everybody's having a great day. Like I said, I know it's a little bit of a difference because normally I do a lot of the sister wife stuff, and now we're kind of stretching into other issues. Now, just to keep it fair, you don't necessarily have to watch the programs for some of the stuff that I review in order for you to be able to participate and hopefully enjoy the live streams or even the videos, because I try to frame it in form of how I was talking with my daughter about it during the time when we started watching the stuff. Here we go. Okay, Sherry Kane, first one that pops up. Let me get my thing together. Well, in terms of this so-called couple, it doesn't strike me as real. Tim deserves respect for what he's done, helping to raise a child. You know what? And I agree with that. And I think that there is always a question, especially when you're on TLC, of how genuine the reality show actually is. Like, what's actually true. Kathy Ferran in the house, back under your old moniker, I see. We're missing Dissing Cody. I don't know, I might run him in the ground a little bit. Did you guys see my new videos? I plan on rolling some videos out because for just a quick dance or dalliance into the Sister Wives real quick, and then I'll come back out. But I am going to release, and I have started already releasing some videos about Cody regarding a People magazine interview that he did. I don't know if you guys saw that or not, but I dropped that, I think, yesterday, I want to say. I know I have another one I was going to queue up for today, so look for that when I have another one coming out about Cody. Because he said a whole bunch of wild stuff talking about the sister wives and talking about how they're getting along with disrespecting them and how they're treating them and how they don't deserve respect, etc., and why it's not his fault. The one I did earlier that I have to just finish doing, I did not, Maze Chill. I will take another look. The one I did earlier or yesterday regarding Cody is about him saying that polygamy isn't fair to the men. So I don't know. I might have to reshoot that. I don't know about how I feel about it. But did you get my message regarding Spotify and SW Books? The book is very eye-opening. I will take a look. I don't think I got the message, but I didn't get a chance to look at my email today. So if you sent it today, I didn't see it. Till the Kathy Ferran, till the criminals get me, then the alter ego will go out. I hear that. Sometimes you can't let them know what you're doing. You know what I mean? You got to stay hidden. Okay. Marilyn Lopez said, yes, I enjoyed your new videos. I'm glad. Yeah, don't forget to hit the like button too on the way in. All right. Yes, forgiveness. We have to forgive one another. Yeah, so it clears up some of the stuff from this show. Yeah, it does. Yes, it does. Michelle King, what's happening? How you doing? Yeah, so I have some things that I wanted to say specifically about the I got some mugs. I got like 3-4 cups I'm drinking out of at the time. I got a coffee and 2 waters. So I will be hydrated at least for this. I'm not saying the Kremlins won't hit me and I won't get hit by the Krems or all the good stuff and things aren't going to be on smoking fire, but we're going to do our best. Okay, let's see. I don't watch 90 Day Fiance, but I thought it was maybe interesting by the title. And that's, I was just talking about that, Michelle, but thank you for joining us and taking a chance. I appreciate the chance. I like risk takers. Just to kind of address that, like I was saying earlier, I'm trying to do it in a way where you don't necessarily have to watch a show. Now, I understand because I started out watching 90 Day Fiance, in all fairness. I wasn't watching Sister Wives till much, much later. My first full episode till much later. But the thing that I don't like about 90 Day Fiance from TLC's and the production side of it is that they are so invested in trying to build a cast, kind of what they did with Sister Wives, where they have so many people, so many couples. And then now, because they have so many people, so many couples, and they're trying to keep them under the TLC umbrella, they've created a situation where now you have a whole bunch of spinoffs, and it's very difficult for you to keep up with who's on what, when, where, which person is new, what happened before, and it's just a lot. So I think that that's a mistake that TLC is making and what's discouraging a lot of people from starting to watch the program. Because when they started out, it was very simple. People from different countries want to come here to America, and this is an opportunity for some. Some are coming for love. Some are coming for what they consider to be financial opportunities. Some of them are coming just trying to get boosted up. What's going on, Angela? How you doing? But for the most part, it's a hard watch just because they just seem to be all over the place. Mace Chill. Tim is a good guy in that he's been a great co-parent. And that's something that I wanted to address. Thank you for bringing that up, Mace Chill. When I first noticed Tim and Veronica, they first came on the show, just to give a little background. They first came onto the show, it was before the 90 days, right when the 90 Day Fiance starts, and they have people who travel from America typically to these foreign countries just to get to know the people whom they're planning to propose to. Now, ideally, if you're going to do a 90 Day Fiance or what they call a K1 visa, if you're going to do one of those K1 visas, you should already know the person that you're dealing with. The K1 visa isn't so you can date somebody and then bring them to America and you have 90 days to figure out if you want to marry them. The K1 visa, if you're going to do it properly, is designed so you can meet somebody, fall in love with that person, have full intention of marrying that person. The K1 visa gives you a doorway or an opportunity for you to bring that person to the country or America so that you can get married. Now, they give you 90 days, not so you can figure out how to get to know each other, just so you don't have to go through the hassle or run the predicament or run the risk where as soon as they touch down at the airport, you have to try to run them to a chapel or run them to a church so that you can get married immediately. They give you 90 days to do planning, 90 days in case things go wrong, 90 days so that if somebody gets sick or somebody can't make it or the venue falls through or your the person who's supposed to marry you, the officiant, that falls through, you have 90 days, 3 months for you to be able to figure it out. That's the government saying you have 3 months to figure it out. Now, if you pass that 90 days, there isn't any, I missed my homework. Sorry, the dog ate it. There's none of that. So they got to get on a plane and go home. In which case you have to start all over. And you only, as an American citizen, just as an aside, you only get 2 applications. Not 2 acceptances, not 2, I'm going to get married and it didn't work out. You get 2 applications to put in. And after that, you're done. So you're not bringing everybody from the UK over here on the 90-day fiance. Every time you go out, you want to be an American girl? That ain't going to work. Funny, we thought 90 meant you're done. Your 90-day fiance done. Ruth Carroll, great point. That 90 days isn't really giving couples that you can root for. And that's kind of the thing, too. Because honestly, when I look at Lita Miller, what's happening? No worries, no worries. When I look at this, one of the challenges, and I agree with that, one of the challenges I have, even with Tim in this particular situation, Tim comes off a little rough. Am I okay? My sound okay? My mic is pointed cockeyed and funny. Tim comes in a little weird. Just in the sense that he has a personality which is very condescending to people who he's talking to. He seems like he's above it all or he's better than, and that could rub people the wrong way. Now, granted that, Tim, I've known people like him, so it doesn't really affect me one kind of way or another kind of way for the most part. But I understand, by knowing people like Tim, I understand why people don't like Tim. You know what I mean? Let's be very clear. I understand why people don't like him. Because the people I know that are like Tim, and they're pretty cool people, they're good folks, they just rub you the wrong way. They just rub certain people, they just, they grate on their nerves. And it's just a thing of the question that I wanted to ask, because this is actually something for my 90-day fiance folks. This is a question that actually popped up with regard to David Woolley and Christine when they were having the issue of, is David Woolley really going to be the stepfather of Christine's kids? Now, I say that he's going to be the stepfather of her kids, but just because that's who he is. For instance, in my perspective, it would be unacceptable if David Woolley showed up or a guy showed up with a person who has children and he asserted or took the position that, look, I'm not here for your kids. I'm here for you. I'm here for our relationship. If it's something to do with the kids, call a daddy, because I ain't got nothing to do with that. I'm here with this. I'm not here with that. That would, to me, wouldn't be appropriate. If you're going to date a woman who has children, you're dating her and you're courting her children to make sure that all the relationships are working. Because when you come into the family, all those relationships have to work. It's not just you, I'm great with my girlfriend or my wife, but her kids, screw them. Like, that's not appropriate. It's a package deal. Like, how many of us have said that if you date somebody who has children, that it's a package deal, whether it's a prospective, stepmom or stepdad or whatever the case may be, it's a package deal. Oh, thank you, Peanut Butter. I appreciate that. So when I talk about it, especially with regard to Tim, there was somebody who asked a very good question not too long ago with regard to, I think my chat box is a little slow for once. Use my chat box as fired all, boy. Somebody asked a question about, they have a nephew. They were talking about moving in with their girlfriend. and the girlfriend has a child, and what are some of the concerns that I would be looking for. One of the big issues that I always have with regard to advising people when they talk to young ladies or young men who have children is that you have to understand that when you get involved with somebody who has children, one, off rip, you have to be willing to accept the fact that they have children, and you have to get around the whole idea that this is somebody else's child. This is somebody whom you're going to be partially responsible for. Not necessarily as I'm replacing the other parent, but you're going to be a fixture in that child's life, right? And part of that isn't just you being present and then you taking yourself out of that relationship. How will it affect them negatively because they'll be missing you and it'll hurt them? But as the person coming into that relationship, you also have to take into account that when you get involved with kids have a way of working their way, kind of earworming their way into your heart. They have a way of working on you. So when you get yourself attached to this young lady or this young man and they have children and you get attached to these kids, if that relationship doesn't work out, that is going to cause you pain. That is going to cause you suffering, not just for the loss of your potential paramour or the person you're in a relationship with, but it's also going to cause you pain and turmoil because of the loss of that child. Story time! I told this story before. I had a friend, or a guy I knew. I can't necessarily say he's my friend. He's my best friend. We were associates. We had a situationship. The situation was he used to do karaoke. He was a KJ, and I liked doing karaoke. I was singing all the time. So when I would go, I'm going to turn my phone down because I can see this thing ripping off. So when I would go out, I would meet him, and I've seen him in like a lot of different places. I was one of them people that would travel around and go to different places just because I like meeting folks. So I would see him, and we would talk, and we developed a bit of a friendship. I mean, it's cool to say that. It's certainly an associationship. And he had a relationship, a long-term relationship, where he was helping to co-parent a child that wasn't biologically his. But as far as he was concerned, this was his son. You couldn't tell him that wasn't his son. You couldn't tell him that wasn't his kid. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you ever walked in there and said, "Who's this?" "Oh, that's my son." And you said, "No, it's not. You don't have children." He would lose his mind. Like, he loved that little boy to death. He loved that little boy. And as it worked out, like, I've known him, this time I knew him for years. His relationship with the child's mom didn't work out. They broke up, but he continued a relationship with her as a co-parent, and so that he could maintain a positive and consistent relationship with this young man and stay in his life. Because again, this young man wasn't just some charity case. This was his son as far as he was concerned. This was his son. He was all in. And she went out. She got herself a new boyfriend. And this is part of the reason why I guess maybe I have a kind of a feeling about this particular case. And she got herself a boyfriend. The boyfriend didn't like that he was coming around or he was involved at all with this young man. So he made her cut him off. And in just one day, and this is one of the things that is always concerning and should be a point of concern, is that because you're not a natural parent and because you're not the child's father, natural father, or in some cases the natural mother, the biological mother, you don't have any rights. So when she looked him in the face after he took care of this young man for years, when they walked away, there was nothing he could do. When she said, "You can't see him anymore. Don't call, don't contact him, nothing." There was nothing he could do. And he was heartbroken. You could see in his face every time he even thought about that boy, like like you could be sitting there talking, laughing and joking and stuff. And the second he thinks about that boy, you could tell he was thinking about him because a dark cloud would just come right over him. It was the saddest thing I've ever seen. And it broke his heart, like, you know what I mean, for him to be able to do that. And that's what happened. So when we sit and talk about these types of relationships, we always insist that when you get involved with these types of relationships, you have to be willing to accept the total package. But we never acknowledge that when that non-biological parent not only accepts the total package, but completely throws himself into that total package, how are they treated? And what happens to them when the relationship doesn't work out? We'll cover it in a little bit because I pulled some clips. I don't want to run this too late. So we pulled some clips. We'll go over and we'll talk about it. But let's take a look at some of the comments. Mace Chill. When I divorced, my two sons were in their early teens. I did what you mentioned. I did this because my ex is a great dad and we co-parent well. That's awesome. That's awesome. I wasn't looking for a father, more older brother, uncle. Yeah. And that's the thing too. Like, you don't necessarily, like, if the father is around, if the dad is involved, it's not about you going out getting a replacement dad, a rent-a-pop. It's not about you going out trying to find a replacement mom. If you're dating somebody or your ex and you have a child with somebody and that person, your relationship doesn't work out and that person goes out to find somebody else, let them be happy. Let them find that person that they need to find. But at the same time, you don't want to cut them off from their child and you don't want to pretend like they don't exist. It only hurts the child. In this particular case, my biggest issue is that one, if there's more people who are going to be looking out for and caring about that child, I don't understand necessarily how that's a bad thing. If you have more adults who are offering resources, opportunity, wisdom, and guidance to this young person, how is that a bad thing? Because the new boyfriend and the new girlfriend is feeling a certain kind of way. Now, granted, if there's some hanky-panky going on, you know what I mean? And they kind of use that as an excuse to come over, like, you have to be aware of that too. I'm not saying that that's not a red flag, but that shouldn't cause the relationship to end. And it also begs the question in this particular case, when we're talking about Tim and Veronica, that's the two people that I had on the thumbnail. When we talk about them, it's my understanding that Veronica's biological baby daddy isn't involved with her daughter at all. So Tim 100% picked up and took the mantle, or took the baton, and he ran with it for that particular instance. Yeah, see, Lita Miller, this is another part of the issue too. My ex had children, grandchildren from another marriage. I raised the kids like my own. We get divorced. I lost my grandkids. I babysat for years. And that's a hard piece. That's hard. That's a hard thing to do. Because again, like, when you start doing the whole, everybody got to make a choice. Everybody got to make a decision. Everybody has to come down on one side or the other. When that happens, people stop looking out for the best interest of the child. This is why a family court can be so jacked up a lot of times when folks go to get custody or child support. And the judge is kind of cross when he's quick to say that, look, it's not about you. It's about the best interest of the child. And a lot of times, just as a pro tip, I have friends who went through the family court. And I've known people who gone through family court. One of the things you will always get hit in family court with is, as soon as you say my child, you will always be corrected by the judge, who is going to tell you it's not your child, it's both your child, and da-da-da. Because to them, that's you being selfish. And what they're trying to get you to understand is that when you go to family court, it's not about you. It's not about how you're taking it. It's about the best interest of the child, period, full stop. They don't, you know what I mean? If you cry every day because you don't feel good about this situation, but it's in the best interest of the child, that's what the family court is concerned with. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes it can be very cruel, but that's what hopefully all the adults in this situation are looking forward to, and looking out for the best interest of that person. Melody, I think that the only father that Chloe has had in her life is Tim. He has always been in her life. When Chloe, what was said about her dad, there goes that relationship between her and Veronica boyfriend. Yeah. And that's my understanding as well, Melody, that Tim was the guy that's been around. Lita Miller. Thanks, guys. It happens more than it should. This is true. This is true. And it's unfortunate, especially as a grandparent. In most states, believe it or not, grandparents do have rights where they can go and they can get custody. Not custody. You can go and get visitation for your grandkids. Usually there's a couple things that have to fall in line in order, depending on the jurisdiction. And speak to your attorney. This is not legal advice. It's just barely legal awareness. There are certain jurisdictions where you have certain things that you have to do, but you do have a right as a grandparent. Kind of where Lita Miller is, and where I think that she may fall, unfortunately, is that because you're not biologically the grandparent, then it becomes a little more complicated. Not impossible, but it certainly becomes a lot more complicated. And the law hasn't caught up to feelings. So Lita, she's in a situation, and I can sympathize with this, and pardon me if I misstate this or if I say this wrong, very well could find herself in a situation where she has this marriage and this relationship that didn't work, but she invested her time, emotion, feelings, and everything that she had into these kids, into those relationships. And because she doesn't have a biological connection, even though she's basically been a parent, and when those kids had grandkids or had their kids, and she took those kids on that weren't biologically her connection, but she took them on as a child and a grandchild. Unfortunately, in some cases, the courts don't recognize that. And that's one of the dangers and one of the precautionary tales of when people get involved with people with children. Now, here's the real deal. When you're entering into the sexual marketplace, and this is part of the reason why I wanted to have this conversation. Like, I don't want it to just be a thing where I'm talking to the camera and you guys, blah, blah, blah. But when we're having this full conversation, part of the reason why I want to have this conversation is just the idea that when you enter into this and into the sexual marketplace, the reality of it is, especially after you hit a certain age, you are going to encounter people who have children. 100%, like it's just a natural thing. If you're hitting 40, 50 years old and you're in the sexual marketplace, you're trying to date, you're trying to find people to paramour with you, you're going to run into situations where these folks have had previous relationships, they have children, and or they've been married before. And it's not something where you say, you know what, I'm absolutely positively not going to date somebody with children ever, or somebody who's been married ever, or somebody who is laid with another human being. Then you're going to be alone. If that's your standard, the possibility is high that you're going to die alone. So you have to be able to encounter that. You have to be able to get over it. Let me see. What is this? Oh, makes chill. I'm a recovering attorney, and I did family law for years. Yeah, the family law is rough. And man, those custody cases shake my head. Yeah, they can get ugly. Mace Chill, I feel you on that. Custody cases, anything dealing, because when you deal with custody cases, and I'm sure Mace Chill can attest to this or give her own testimony. Give her own perspective. But I'm sure that when you're dealing with the things that make any litigation difficult, hands down, is the fact that people are going to be emotionally invested. If I start a business and I start a business with somebody else and that business is either growing, expanding, there's a purpose, there might be a potential merger and or acquisition, or there could be a point where we have to close the business down and we have to try to figure out who gets what. You know what I mean? Or maybe me and my partner don't get along. That's an emotional response that's going to be triggered with that litigation. When you're talking about kids, when you're talking about people's livelihoods because they've invested their life and they built their life and their children and their legacy around this relationship, and now this relationship is falling apart and people feel a certain kind of way, oh, bump this. Now all of a sudden it's a lot more problems. It's a lot more issues, a lot more turmoil that's going on in these types of relationships. And that's what partly makes it so difficult, because even as an attorney, and I'm sure Mace Joe will tell you this, even as an attorney, when you're dealing with people who You're trying to rationalize with them and explain to them what's going on, what they can expect when they get to court. There is very little chill. There's very little understanding. Don't go into court. Don't yell out. Don't say nothing. Wait till I wait till I address you. As soon as the judge start talking, that's a lie. That's a lie. Okay, calm down. Miss Chill, can you take charge of your client, please? Okay, God, I will. You need to chill the hell out. Do you want to lose this case? I'm telling you, it can get rough. And I get it. Like, because there is a point, too, that when you work in the legal field or you work in law enforcement, you work in certain fields, you get accustomed to the practices of what's going on. So you work in say if you do car accidents, right? And somebody gets a pleading that basically says, we're going to sue you for $500 million or $50 million. The person who receives like, oh my God, I'm going to get you for $50 million. I got to sell my house. Calm down. Calm down. They just asking for a bunch of money in the pleading. This doesn't mean that you're going to lose. It's just what they're saying. Or they're suing you. Oh, I don't know what's going to happen. You know, I knew cops or police officers. To them, arresting people was no big deal. But for somebody who is being arrested, this is life-changing. They could lose jobs. They could lose opportunities. You know, this is their life. Nobody's trying to spend time in the poke. So all of a sudden, or the pokey, so all of a sudden it becomes an issue. But because you work in that field, you don't necessarily see it. And when people are dealing with like custody cases, they'll get demands, and all of a sudden, you know, you have a custodial parent who's getting a demand from a non-custodial parent talking about custody. Now, all of a sudden, as far as they're concerned, they're about to lose their kids. I got this document. The person is saying that they want my kids from me. What am I going to do? This is my whole life. These are my children. I got to protect them. Calm down. They're not going to get your kids. You know, the kids are 15, 16 years old. They haven't seen them since, you know, the child was born. As soon as the baby came out, they looked at it, named it, and they walked out the door, which, you know, sometimes does happen. You're not going to lose your kids. But you can't explain that to them. Because all they know is they have a pleading that says that the other parent wants to, you know, they got married and the woman they married wants to have children, but she don't want to have children, so they want your kid. You know? But that's just the craziness. Lita Miller said, James, we get my divorce. I know the stories. You know. But it's just, yeah, I mean, it's a hard, it can be a hard thing. Like, I get it. It's, and like I said, I'm sure, it was this, thankfully, and fingers crossed, I've never had a traffic issue and been pulled over. I had my tail light out, go out one time, got pulled over, and I was hyperventilating. LOL, cop just wanted to let me know. Yeah, man. I don't give a shit how cool you are. You have to be a stone cold killer. And as soon as you could be driving down the street, and as soon as you see the cops, you're like, oh. And they get behind you like, oh, shoot. I know my papers straight. I know I ain't did nothing. I know everything is good. But your heart is always kind of... You ever had the cops get behind you and they hit their lights and they're going somewhere else? You're like, ah, shit. I didn't even do nothing. And then they go past you like, whoo, like you got away with something. You didn't get away with anything. You're legal on the street. What are you doing? Nah, Kate Bloomfield, you right on time. You right on time. We didn't even really get into it good yet. We working our way up to it. I'm long stroking the hell out of this. I apologize. I'm just terrible. Let me see. I wanted to pull some stuff up. Let me see what we got. Yeah. Good, because the issue, like, so I want to use the way I want to work this. And again, I apologize. I recovered because we say the law is jealous mistress. Yeah. Jealous and cold mistress. The law is a cold mistress. And anybody who's ever worked in the legal profession, I worked in the legal profession for a little bit. And one of the craziest things when you do it, like I know people who, quick, fast, I'll sue. Anybody who's ever worked in the legal profession understands that it's one thing to have, like you could have 100%, like your case could be bulletproof. But when you walk into that courtroom, anything can happen. Nothing is guaranteed. If you ever sit in, just inside baseball, if you ever sit in a lawyer's office and that lawyer looks you in the face, 45 minutes, Kathy Varane, I know, right? I'm terrible. If you ever walk into a lawyer's office and that lawyer looks you in the face and be like, we are 100% going to win, there's no way we could lose. Thank him for his time and run the hell out of that office. There's no way where I'm losing this case. You know what I mean? Carmen Harper, I got pulled over because I was dragging my block heater cord. Dog had just shit in my car. He could see my day wasn't going well. Warned me about speeding and left me the hell alone. Yeah, sometimes they do that. Usually, if you're polite but with the police officer, just another little quick thing before we get into this. If you ever get yourself into a situation, you get pulled over, just be polite to the cops. There's nothing wrong with you being polite. Hello, thank you, sir. Thank you, officer. Take your information. Have your information out in your hand when they come up. You know they're gonna ask for it. Just have it ready for them. Like, hello, officer, how are you? Oh, I just came up. Can I get your license registration? Here you go. They pull you over. They asking for that anyway. Just give them the stuff and then let them go about their business. If they're going to give you a ticket, they've already decided when they got out of the car, they're going to give you a ticket. They're going to give you a ticket. And there's nothing you can do about it. You can't argue about it on the side of the road, so there's no point in you doing it. You wait, you save your powder until you get to the courthouse. Maybe they having a bad day, maybe they not. Maybe they show up to the courthouse, they might dismiss it. You never know. But having an attitude is a sure shot way that you going to get that ticket. Now, there's pretty much one way that you're guaranteed a ticket. If they pull you over and it's raining, cold, or snowing, you're getting a ticket. You're probably gonna get that ticket. If they got to get out of their warm car to get right, to talk to you, you probably getting some paperwork. Just saying. Where is that at? Let's see. Mace Joe said that's so true. There's no slam dunk case ever. Nope. Nope. You can have your shit 100% lined up, banged up, there's no way I'm losing this case. Got all my facts, they got nothing. The judge getting there and be like, I'm going to throw a little fastball at and what are we talking about? Your Honor, that's not legal. You can't do that. I can do whatever I want to do. Like this dude think he's Supreme Court Justice. Like, you can't do that. That's not in your purview. That's not the law. What are we doing? And that's some more money because that's an appeal. So, yeah. But, Raspberry, let's see. Raspberry, $5 super chat. I like Veronica and Tim on Pillow Talk for what it's worth. Tim has given care and time to Chloe that Cody will not give his own children. This is very true. Raspberry, this is very true. And this is why it's so important. Like, it's so weird to me that, if you're in that situation, the willingness of somebody who has had that type of relationship with a person, so willing to throw it away because they got some new booty. You understand what I mean? Like, when you have a guy or a young lady, even, because women go through this thing too, because a lot of times it's always put on the men, like a man steps into a relationship, the woman have a job, and then the man gets heartbroken, blah, blah, blah. But women go through this as well, where they meet guys who have children. Sometimes the guys have custody of the children. They get involved with the man, they get involved with the child, they anchor themselves into that relationship, and then the relationship ends and they get cut off, feelings hurt. We just had an example of that, Miss Lita in the house. So there's that. Oh, shit. See, absolutely. They're people too, LOL. The worst folks aren't the attorneys. The worst folks are the family members of the attorneys. My mom will tell everyone and anyone her daughter is a lawyer. LOL. My daughter's a lawyer and she will sue the hell out of you. Now you better get my table. Get pulled over by the police. My daughter's an attorney. Like, this ain't a mafia thing. Like, I can't just go down there and give them the secret handshake and they let you go. Let's see. Yeah, no winners in a divorce. This is true. Because it's the breaking up of a family. And then there's that point, too, where it's... To be a step parent, it's a lot of trust involved when you become a step parent, because you're putting your faith, your trust, and your heart into something that you have no power over. Because, again, as a step parent, for the most part, you don't have any legal recourse. If your relationships end with that other person, that other parent, the parent, the biological, if your relationship ends, in some cases, this isn't absolute. Nothing's absolute. As me and Mace were just talking about, nothing's 100% slam dunk. But you're looking at an uphill fight. I'm talking about ice skating uphill, so it could be a little rough. Like, I found you, Miss New Booty. And now it's in my head. Thanks, Chase. You know how that go? They get that new booty and all of a sudden they lose their damn minds and stuff. Like, I don't know. It's like everything I have is going towards them. It's such a special relationship. All right, so we'll talk about Jamal and Veronica. I wanted to make sure before we get into it that my mic is actually hooked up. So let me switch screens real quick. Can you guys hear me? Give me a 1 in the chat if you guys can hear me. Just to make sure that everything is copacetic as far as my sound is concerned. That City 1's popping up. Not yet. Not yet. And I think Tim and Veronica are good friends. Like, I do think that they're good friends. So, there's that. All right, I got some ones. Awesome. Here's something that I wanted to drop in.
It's hard to navigate a relationship when Veronica is an ex that's constantly in her ear. I want me and Veronica to be best friends. I don't really want her to be best friends with her ex. It's like, come on, bro.
One of the biggest things is just the ex part. Really just threw me off. Like, how can your ex be your best friend?
That just blew my mind.
You know? Like, how?
I feel like that's a lot.
That's a lot.
Anybody. You know?
Tim.
Who is this guy?
Who is him? I cannot wait to meet him.
Who is this guy? I cannot wait to meet him. And part of the problem, see, this kind of touches into some of the things with this, is that part of the problem when you're dealing with this type of situation is that the age of maturity of the people involved. Because they'll look at it. Cat Bluefield. We talk about 90. Wait a minute. What are we talking about? That's awesome. Yeah, we talk a little bit 90 Day. But that's kind of the thing where when we talk about the maturity of the people involved, because when they look at it, they say, we have to, if a guy is talking to a female or a woman or exes are talking to one another, then those relationships had to have ended in a horrible burn down the bridge, burn down the building, blow the town up fashion. It has to end in a grand old fashion. Sometimes these relationships can end, and because there are people have a certain level of maturity, they're allowed to or have the ability or capacity to be able to work themselves around it. To where they can have healthy relationships. They look at it and they say, you know what we need to do? We need to be here for these kids because I have a vested interest in this child and I want the best for the child, which is important. But these guys don't see it. And even dude, like, oh, I got to get Tim up out the way. So that's always an issue. Laura B, the extraordinary machine, 158 watching, 101 likes. Like and subscribe, y'all. Thank you so much, Laura B. Thank you so much. Where is let me see. That wasn't the first one out of other year. Playing no pressure. This thing recorded funny. Yeah, because there is some stuff that I wanted to pull out from this whole thing. Let me see. Because we always have to balance stuff out. Yeah, that's not it either. There's just so much stuff. I guess maybe some of my stuff didn't record. I'll have to go back and look at it. We're for 23 years. And he really is my best friend. He's the one person I know will tell me the truth and put my best interest first. And that's important. Because when you have somebody who, and it's always nice, if you have somebody who can recognize that, you're a good person, I'm a good person, we're just not good together, and you have that certain level of maturity, and especially if you find yourself in a situation where you realize the relationship isn't going to work, and you're honest about it, you're honest with yourself, and you're honest about it with your partner, then that increases the possibility that you're able to walk away and be civil with one another. If you put yourself in a situation where you're not happy in that relationship, but you feel like you can't leave that relationship unless it's a barn burner where you're both walking away screaming, hollering, and threatening each other, then the relationship is going to be a lot harder for you to be able to put it together. And in those cases, if you don't have that level of understanding, like every relationship that ends has to be, I hate your guts, don't ever tell. If it's one of those, then yeah, you can understand how people can be friends afterwards. Hey, Vixen, what's going on? Okay. Suzette Duncan. I'm hanging out with my wife's ex-husband. Okay. On Sunday to watch football. We all had to raise our child together, and now we are all friends. You can and should be friends with exes. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with it. Now, I will say this. There's always a caveat to everything. If that person was, mistreating you, because I can't say the A word, or YouTube, the Kremlins and the YouTube folks will come down on me harder than... But you get where I'm going. If it's one of those situations and you have to create boundaries where you can have a healthy existence with that person, even if children are involved, you have to create healthy boundaries so that you can be able to be yourself and be able to function in those relationships. But if you can have a healthy relationship, there is nothing wrong with you having a relationship with your ex. If anybody, who is friends or cool with the people that you date, it's always weird to me that, you have to try to cut everybody out of that person's life. As much as you could say, yeah, if that person has an ex, that's a huge red flag that you have to worry about. You know what's a red flag to me? When you have somebody who wants to cut everybody out of the person that they're dating, cut everybody out of their life, whether it's friends, family, parents, children, anybody who could give them counsel or advice about things that are happening in their life, somebody that they can go to. That's always concerning to me when you have somebody who wants to cut those people out and doesn't want those people involved, doesn't want those people around. Because it says a lot about those folks. And maybe what they have in store for you. Let me see. There is a point where I did friends. Yeah, all right. Just as a quick thing. Like I said, they did the whole complaint about the parents and talking about them coming in as friends and how you deal with friends, and even with from the respect of this young lady talking about Veronica talking about and wanting Jamal to move, feel comfortable, and come in and move into town, and the two of them. Good to see you as well, Vixen. Them being able to them getting together. There's a point where they came together. Let's just get into the conflict. The conflict's all what sells the tickets, right? Let's just get into the conflict. This is what they had to say with regard to. Let me go to the.
It's hard to navigate a relationship when Veronica is an ex that
We'll cut that off because that wasn't supposed to play right off. But this is what when Veronica brought Jamal to see her in her home state. This is what she had to say with regard to that relationship. Or what she would ask him, like, what are you thinking about moving to Charlotte? Because he lives in a different part of the country. He lives in San Francisco. And she lives in Charlotte, North Carolina. Opposite sides of the country. Now, it's very difficult for relationships to work when you're on two different coasts. So she's trying to get him to move from South San Francisco, where he doesn't have a job. He just recently graduated from college not too long ago. Doesn't have a job, living home with his mom. And she's trying to get him to move to Charlotte, North Carolina, so that they can continue their relationship. And this is what he had to say when she started asking him about potentially moving to town to be with her and her daughter. Hold on 1 second.
This time apart, this last time, has been particularly difficult for me. Like, I feel like this was the fastest that I was like, oh my God, I miss him already.
I don't really appreciate the pressure Veronica sends my way about moving. I just feel like we haven't been dating that long yet to where I should be doing that. But I do agree that when we're not in the same city, it's hard to grow.
Now, I don't disagree. Like, off rip. No friends in this world. I don't disagree that you want to make sure things are set. Like, I wouldn't, if it was roles were reversed, I wouldn't recommend that anybody just pack up their stuff and then follow somebody or chase somebody across the country. That's probably not the most healthiest thing in the world to do until you recognize at least that the relationship is starting to head in that direction. Things are becoming more serious. There are opportunities outside of just you going to be with somebody, for you to move across the country. I get that. One of the dangers that I see in this particular situation is that when you have somebody who is extremely selfish, some people say narcissistic, throw those words around, but when you have somebody who's selfish and kind of a jerk and an egomaniac, then what they tend to do is they tend to listen to what you say and how you present these ideas, and they shape it around so that they can use that good advice, that good based decision making or skill, and they say, oh yeah, it's a good idea, blah 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 happens, because I don't want this to be because I don't want this to be a thing. But it's not the reason that they're giving. It's an excuse that they're providing so that they can do the thing that they want to do. And we'll get into it because I brought some other receipts as well. So Mace Chill says, that's hard because he has a point. No one benefits from moving too fast. However, Veronica is older and knows what she wants. Problem is she sounds thirsty to me, which is sad. She needs to vet him. And I agree with that. That's another point. You also want to make sure before you start bringing people around your kid, just because there's another group of people on this same show, we're basically doing the same thing. There's a guy named John, and he has a girlfriend who lives in Texas. So he comes from, I forget where he's moving from, or talking about moving from, but he's talking about moving, or at least she wants him to move from wherever he's at down to Texas so that she can be with John and move him into the house with her and her daughter. And John is basically saying, look, we've been knowing each other for 5 months. I maybe have seen each other 5 times total. And before we move that fast, we need to slow down before we get too involved. And this is especially true if you have children, because you're pulling in innocent people who don't have a say into these types of relationships before you know the people you're getting involved with. I don't disagree with that notion or idea that Jamal wants to take his time and making sure that this is somebody he wants to be with. However, the one thing that I will say is, and you'll see it in the, I have a little bit of background, so I understand some more things, and I get that. But one of the things that we'll see in a little bit is that Jamal is relishing the idea that he can have this free relations or time with Veronica in a coital sense. He gets to enjoy her physically, and he doesn't have to have the benefit of committing to her. So he gets all the benefits of kind of being in a pseudo relationship, but he doesn't have any of the responsibilities. And so the friends with benefits, I guess, is the easiest way to say it. I hate morning. Kids are always part of the package deal. This is true. Angela said desperate. He said, Molly said, fake drama. I'm scared. I'll try. But here was the other part of that I wanted to pull out. So this is part of the conversation that they were having. But then when they get down to a meeting where it's, Jamal comes to town, his friends come to town with him so that his friends are from Richmond, he's from San Francisco. They knew each other for 5 long years. Whereas Tim and Veronica have known each other for at least over 12 years because he's helped to raise Veronica's daughter since she was very young. She's a teenager now, and he's been a part of her life for at least 12 years as her father. So, or at least a father figure, we'll say. So that was part of the complication. What started everything off, like I said, they all met up at a restaurant. Tim, he came in and he said that he wanted to have
Do you see Jamal moving
he wanted
Charlotte
to
being
talk
happy,
to
giving up
her
his life?
about some stuff. Now keep in mind, this whole time, old girl was trying to play cool. She's trying to pretend like there's no fuss, no muss, no problems. Everything is fine. She has no worries about what's going on, and she's cool with everything. So Tim comes in, understanding where Veronica is, wanting Jamal to move to North Carolina. Tim asked the question. So Jamal, what do you think of North Carolina? He asked his friends. He asked Jamal, and this is what Jamal had to say. So I'm trying to juggle a little bit. Get this.
Do you see Jamal moving to Charlotte being happy, giving up his life?
I'll be honest, in my opinion, it's not sustainable. I don't see my boy here being in Charlotte. I don't see him living here. Another big part that makes us very hesitant is part of that you are still very, very a big factor in her life. You being her ex, being someone so long in her life.
Yeah, it's weird.
Him being the new guy, as a best friend of the new guy.
And part of the reason why I wanted to play that is because he made the point of saying, it's the best friend of the new guy. Oh, is this Sherry K? Let's see. It's the best friend of the new guy. I want to express that he probably isn't going to enjoy being here because, you have all this stuff going on and you guys are friends and this could ruin this whole relationship. And this is just me as a dude, like as a guy. I'm not in a forget guy. Man, that ain't got nothing to do with it. Grown person. I'm grown, Doc. Like, as a grown person, if I'm in a relationship with somebody, I don't give a shit what anybody else thinks about it. If you're in a relationship with them, it don't matter if they friend don't like you. I don't have to win your friends over. Now, your parents, maybe. But your friends, okay? You know what I mean? I'm here and I'm going to show them. I'm going to keep proving every day. I'm going to keep being me and I'm going to keep doing what I need to do to keep this relationship going and keep this relationship on track. And if I find that there's too much influence from the friends, from the family, whatever the case may be, and they're negatively impacting my relationship with this person, then that is something that I need to take into account as well. I need to take that into account as well. If you're easily influenced by everybody else around you who doesn't necessarily know what's happening between you and your paramour or what's going on in your relationship, and they're pushing you out of a healthy, strong relationship that can make you happy, a situation that makes you happy, and they push you out of that, and you go along with it, then I need to know that. That's something I need to know too. I'm not going to try to protect it and block you off. That's like trying to, if I'm dating somebody or I had somebody, if I was out there in the market, I'm not in the market. But if I had somebody and I was on the market and I was looking for folks and I'm talking to a young lady and I tell her that she can't talk to this person and give me your phone so you can't call this person. Or I tell my wife, you can't call this person or talk to that person. You can't see this one or see that one. Why am I doing all that? I let you do what you want to do. You do you, boo-boo. You do you. If you see some dude out there that got your interest or make you turn your head and make you want to spend the night and go cray-cray, then you need to go do that. You need to figure out what you want to do because that's your choice. And then I have a choice to make after you make your choice. That's the way I've always approached it. I've always approached it that way. I don't chase people around trying to figure out whether folks cheating on me or not. If you're going to cheat on me, you're going to cheat on me. I'm never going to stop you from cheating on me because I'm not always with you. You're always with you. And you control what happens. You have the autonomy to control what you do with your body. And in this particular situation, Tim can break up Jamal's relationship. Especially if you look at old girl. Old girl is wrapped in. She screwed in tight. She screwed in tight into this relationship. Let's take a look at what Sherry K had to say. Sherry K, okay. Not having luck here. My comment got cut off. Yeah, Kremlin's in the house, baby. I was going to say I've been curious, but been lazy to look it up. Why did Cody have to marry Robin to adopt her kids? Unmarried people adopt kids, right? Yes, unmarried people can adopt children. Strategically, not to get on to too much sister wife stuff, but strategically, and Mace could probably answer this better, but strategically, I can see a world in which you have a situation like Cody is involved with where he has multiple baby moms and he has multiple children. You may want to cut down on some of the questions that would arise from, like, where do these kids fall in? How does this work? What's happening? Are you trying to indoctrinate these kids into this religion? You might be able to sidestep some of those questions by going in with a marriage certificate. At best, that would be what I would think. Mace could probably give a better perspective on what she may think it is, but that's where I would... that would be the only reason why it could happen, because technically if it was an issue of marriage and just getting the kids, it was just for the children, then you could get married even if that was required, get married, adopt the children. Once the legal adoption goes through, you file for divorce because, hey, it's just paperwork, it doesn't matter, and that doesn't negate the adoption. Those are your kids now. You're financially, emotionally, and everything else responsible for them kids 100% once the adoption goes through. So hopefully that answers your question. Sherry K, thanks for people who responded to my question about Cody and marriage and Robin adoption. That is what bothers me about Mary's sake. And Robin and Cody were spiritually married already. Yes. I think, okay, people already answered the questions. Yeah, I'm late. Let's see. Hey, Vladia. All right. Let's see. Get my thing up. Oh, here it is. Got stuff jumping all over the place. It's insane. This is not easy. All right. So one of the things that I wanted to pull up. So now that we had the whole conversation between old boy, the friend saying that he doesn't understand why they got to be friends, and that's what's keeping them back. And if you look at Veronica's face when he's sitting there saying that Jamal doesn't want to move to the town or whatever, move to Charlotte because of the Tim situation. All Veronica heard was he doesn't want to come here. So she butthurt that all of a sudden Jamal doesn't want to move from San Francisco to North Carolina, Charlotte, to be with her. So she sees that as an offense. She's hurt. Now she's trying to play cool like she doesn't care, but that's not the case. And this is one of the things that I understand where Tim was coming from. And I wanted to pull in. Let me move to Charlotte. Okay, so here we go. Let me see. Boom. I think we're moving along, y'all.
Jamal, what is it you don't like about?
All right, let's take a look.
Jamal, what is it you don't like about Charlotte?
It's a little slower here. We're talking about if I move to Charlotte, got to make friends again. But every time I visit here, I just feel like it's just not a place that I feel like I'm ready to settle in my life yet.
What kind of shit? Oh, if I move to Charlotte, I'm gonna have to make friends again. What? That's what I'm talking about. Like, but when I got where Mason said earlier, like, you know, she said basically the same thing I was saying. Like, it's a good idea for you not to uproot your life and try to chase people across the country. I 100% agree with that. But when your excuse is, I might have to make friends again. What? Are we serious right now? You know, and I have to make friends. I won't be living in the same place anymore if I come out here. What are you talking about? And you can see her face. She is hurt. Let's see what Mace Chill said, well, she's butthurt because she's wanting him to be in love as she is. Correct. Mundo. She's dick teased and oh, she's dicticized. And if the circumstances were reversed, she would move now. LOL. Yeah. She would already be out. She'd already be living with him up under the same roof. F boy. Yeah. And my favorite part is that why am I F boy? Because you're arrogant and you're an idiot. Like, I'm not a Jamal fan. For those who don't know, I'm not a Jamal fan. So I'm not really a huge Tim Veronica fan either. I'm like, Tim Veronica. I'm not in any of those camps. I respect Tim for what Tim did as far as her daughter is concerned. But Jamal is childish. He's childish. He's a man baby. Like, there's no way around it. And let me see. Let's see. Coming in hot. Coming in hot. Let's see. 1 second. And because there's a point. Let's take a step back from when they first met. When they first met, because again, he's explaining that he doesn't want to come in or move to the town. He's not interested in coming. And this is what let's take a look at what old girl had to say. Sorry guys, I should have had this organized a little better.
It doesn't matter what I think about you guys.
It does to me. Can we all just like sing Kumbaya?
No. Jamal came in hot, not me.
I came in hot.
You come in hot every other time. I'm sorry, but I have to have his back on this.
Over the past couple weeks, Veronica has told me things that you have said, so I'm just like, what have I done to make you feel like we're not a good fit? Like, and you're not telling me what I've done. That's a problem.
And this is the part where it's a little disconcerting to me, is that Veronica automatically jumps on Jamal's side. Oh, yeah, because you came in hot. You come in hot every other time. I left out the part because basically Jamal had looked at him and said, "What the f did I do? You say whatever the f you want to say or whatever." And he started pouting and looking sad because he hold his feelings because you're timid and impressed with Jamal. So all of a sudden he's supposed to be the jerk, and because Jamal isn't excited about being with Veronica and giving Veronica that reassurance and making her feel good about herself and making her feel like he's actually going to move and come here and be with her. Now all of a sudden she's butthurt because she agreed to do something she didn't agree to do. She doesn't agree with. So now she's hurt. Wait, what's going on? Oh, wow. Sorry to hear that, Rochelle J. Lost her puppy. Wow. I'm sorry to hear that. That's rough. Yeah, I was just talking about that not too long ago. And yeah, yeah, sorry to hear about that, Rochelle J. That's terrible. It's hard when you lose your pups, little fur babies. So Michelle Vittorio said, "What about Jamal Scream's husband and or stepdad?" I laugh, and that's kind of the point. Like the two of them, don't really focus on the thing that you need. Like, it's one thing for you to spend time talking to your friends or your family, telling them that this is what I want out of life and these are the goals that I have. But then when it comes time for you to start to realize those goals or put those plans in motion so you can achieve those goals, it becomes a lot more difficult if you aren't taking the necessary steps for you to be able to get the things that you want. Or you start doing things which will take you away from what your stated goals are. So if she's saying, I want to have a husband, I want to get married, I want to have a family, I want a man who's going to step into my life and not only take care of me, but take care of my child. And you're dating a guy like Jamal. Jamal is not trying to take care of you or your baby. Jamal trying to take care of these nuts. That's all Jamal is trying to take care of. He's trying to take care of himself and get himself satisfied. So she needs to tighten that up and get her head screwed on right a little better. Let's see. I hate mornings. Nobody will be good enough for Veronica. That's how Tim is. He doesn't want her with anyone. I think that he has a perspective where I think Tim has a very romanticized version of love and romance, or almost old world. I can see that, but I would also say that I think that he holds Veronica to a certain standard where he thinks that she is, and he wants her to realize that she has more value than trying to just agree to go along with something. Now, here's the deal. Now that that's been mentioned, let's go into something. This is something that they actually talked about because
I don't understand.
What's name has said that he felt attacked or whatever. Like Jamal was on the attack. He was going after Tim or whatever the case may be. Let's take a look at this clip and we'll talk about it on the other side.
I don't understand why Jamal's putting like, oh, I don't know if I move to Charlotte, how I'm gonna get along with you. Your relationship with him has nothing to do with me.
Tim, perhaps if you had not attacked the man the first time you met him, can you not understand that, like, he doesn't want to come into a drama situation?
Yeah, but I don't feel like I've caused a lot of drama with him. Like, I gave my opinion, but I'm not hunting him down to, like, be like, oh my God, y'all can't be together.
Well,
now, so we're clear, the one time where they actually started, down to the no. Gotta take it over. It'll come on every time I click it. The thing is that every time when Tim started talking about that, the one time where they actually met, the first time that Tim met Jamal was when he came out during the tell-all. The first, I think it was the last season of Single Life tell-all, where it was revealed that Veronica had actually started texting and talking to Jamal, and they had a relationship. During that conversation, it came out that Jamal and Veronica were having basically a physical relationship. Now, I am not in any respect a person who's going to sit here and say, "Oh, you can't have any kind of relationship since you 100% married." I'm not that conservative. I'm not that guy, right? But I will say that don't agree to things that you don't agree with. That's the whole secret to the sauce. Don't agree to do shit that you have no agreement to do. Let's see what Sherry K had to say. Jamal just wanted to make money being on the show, and it annoyed me when I'm in one of the episodes that Veronica did, not saying that she met him on the show. We all know he's Kim's son. Yes, he's Kim's son. He wants to be on. He wants to get some of that Kim money. Why should Mama be the only one who bring home the bag from TLC? Cheryl, there's enough money to be shared. It's enough money to go around. We can all split it. Molly Doran, it matters not from which you came. Yeah, Karen F. I agree with that. The whole interaction has a high school vibe. Like, what do you, I would be taken back more by that than anything else. Like, why do you care what I think, bruh? You know, unless you plan on doing something that you shouldn't be doing, unless you plan on using her, abusing her, and you don't want me to pull them coattails and let her know that this doesn't make any sense. At the same time, one of the challenges that I think Tim does have in this whole thing, Lizzie B in the house. What's up? You guys throw Rochelle J some love. She's in a rough spot. Pup, fur baby, passed away on Tuesday. So make sure you hit her up. Because it's a rough spot. Been there. It's a rough spot. What was I saying? Oh, so with the two of them, there's always that question. So when we go back and we listen to them talk about their relationship where it first started, and I'm trying to make sure I got the right one. This is what they first started out with.
Veronica, do you ultimately want to be married again?
Let me just go back and click
Veronica, do you ultimately want to be married again?
I think, yes, for me, that is the ultimate goal. And not to speak for you, but you shared with me that
look at his
there
face.
is a part of you that has that is interested in settling down at some point, right? And we
Nope.
know that
Jamal's like, he doesn't remember that. Yeah.
no.
Nope.
Yeah, I don't think so.
You gonna live the single life forever?
I mean, not forever, but right now I am having fun.
See? She is not happy.
So
She is not happy. And that's part of the thing, too. Is like, you don't want to be in a situation where you're trying to encourage somebody to agree to do something that they don't want to do. You know you. This is one of the big things that I'd always talked about in these types of situations is you want to make sure that you understand when you enter into sexual marketplace or dating scene or however you want to phrase it or term it. When you enter into these types of relationship, you want to make sure you understand what it is you want out of this relationship. What are you looking for? What is going to serve your needs? What are you trying to get out of it? What are you trying to do in it? And once you understand yourself, you understand the things that you want, you understand you're honest with yourself, you can be honest with other people, and you can be honest about the type of people that you want to be around and the type of relationships that you want to have. Now, in order for you to get those types of relationships, don't get bogged down into the idea that in order for me to do this thing, I have to agree to be this type of person or do this other thing that I don't agree with. If you aren't the kind of person who can go and run around and lay down with people and not care whether they go lay down with other folks, then don't get in a relationship where the relationship is open. It's only going to hurt you. Because they're not going to stop doing that thing because all of a sudden, it hurt my feelings that you were laying with other people. That's what we agreed to. You say that you were cool with it. Especially if it's a situation where you're the one that brings it up because you're trying to make it seem like you're super cool because that's what you think I want. Here's another secret to the sauce. If you're in this type of situation where, let me just click that off. Okay. If you're in this type of situation where you are, hold on one second. You're in one of these type of situations where you're looking at it from the perspective of, in order for me to be with this person, I have to agree to this, that, and the other. Or I have to become this type of person. Let me just hold on one second. I have to become this type of person in order for me to be with this person. I have to stop being who I am and I have to start being this other type of person. A free willing, easygoing, it doesn't matter, it's just a physical thing. It's just the act. We don't care about that kind of stuff. I can be that person. The whole secret is that when you're in that relationship, that person isn't in a relationship with you. They're in a relationship with the person you're pretending to be. They're in a relationship with them. They might not even like you, much less be in a relationship with you and say they love you. They love the way you treat them. They love the way you act. They love the things you do for them. But they don't love you because you're not the person who believes in this stuff. In this particular case, Veronica isn't the person who believes in this. And everybody up here can see it. She's not fooling anybody. And the truth of the matter is, I don't even think she's fooling Jamal. I think Jamal completely understands that he's getting what he wants out of this situation. He's able to knock her off. And this is one of the things that I wanted to talk about. Guys, I know folks who will know full on that the person that they're with is agreeing to do something that they don't agree with or they don't believe in, but they're agreeing to go along with it because they think that it's a way for them to be closer to the person that they're with. They're gonna see how amazing I am, and I just go along with it for now, and then later I'm gonna change it up and we're gonna renegotiate. They know full well that you're not about that life. But they also know that they're benefiting from being able to do the things that they want to do. They know that they're able to knock you off, rough you up, and toss you off anytime that they want. They can come by 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. You're going to pretend to be cool and you're okay with it, but you're going to let them in and they're going to knock it off. And then they're going to go ahead and head back to the house. They're heading back to the hideout. You understand what I mean? They know that. And then when you come back and you try to renegotiate things and, I got my feelings and you hurt my feelings, they won't care. They won't care. Because what are you going to say? Remember when I agreed to do this stuff and I was basically lying? Yeah, well, it hurt my feelings and I don't want to do that no more. Well, I don't want to stop doing it. Here's another secret. If I'm with you and I'm able to be with you and be with other people, and I get used to being with other people, there may never be a time where I will feel comfortable being with just you. If we date, and while I'm dating you, I get to go off and lay down with whoever I want to lay with and do whatever I want to do, and this is the way we've conducted our relationship the entire time, especially if it starts to span into years. At what point do you think I want to stop doing the fun time stuff that I get a benefit from? I'm just saying. Angela Hendrick. I think Veronica counts too much on Tim. Push her to make her tough choices rather than, that's a good point. Rather than seeing she needs to choose different type of men. Yes. Don't use Tim as that's an excellent point, Angela. Don't use Tim as a safety net to make these decisions for you, make the hard calls for you, then try to push you not to make these decisions, just to take relief from yourself so you don't have to make the hard calls and have to make good decisions for yourself. Part of it too, I'm glad you said that, Angela, thank you for the contribution. Part of that is, I think Tim needs to back off a little bit. I respect the fact that as a friend, you want to tell your friend, like, hey, this is ridiculous. This ain't what you about. You know you can't do this. I got this. It's fine. You know you don't have the ability to do this. This ain't you. You know you can't. You don't have the skill set, right? But there is a point where, Veronica's a grown-ass woman and she got to make her own mistakes. She has to make her own mistakes. And as your friend, you have to know the border of where you can safely tell people, look, this is what it is. And when you need to pull back and let them make their mistake and be there for them as a friend to help them pick the pieces up. But she has to, at some point, you gotta let her spread her wings. And she's gonna learn the hard way. but it's just you keep throwing yourself at these guys, and the thing is that here's what I used to tell my daughter when she was younger, and actually I used to do this as a bigger set. You know, when it comes to men, and I approached it because, like I said, I was talking to my daughter at the time. When it comes to men respect you as much as you respect yourself. Men respect you as much as you respect yourself. So if you're willing to degrade yourself, berate yourself, lower yourself, humiliate yourself, there are guys who will let you do that. And they'll hold your coat. Give me a coat, I'll hold your beer. Go ahead and do your thing. Right? No problem. And it's not that they, all of a sudden I have this high regard for women. I put them up on pedestals and they can't ever touch. They don't care. They don't give a damn. Especially if you lowering yourself, lowering your standards, and operating in a place that benefits them, they're more than willing to let you do it. He's getting free stuff. He's able to be on the show, so he's getting a check, and he's able to get a little boom boom rack attack. He's able to score some rack time with you, so he's getting his financial needs and his sexual appetites met, sexual needs met. He's winning. So why would he tell you, no, Veronica, this ain't for you. I have no intention of ever dating you. I have no intention of ever going out with you. He's already said he has no intention of moving to Charlotte. You have her whole life is in Charlotte. Her business and everything that she has, her daughter is in Charlotte. She has no intention of moving to San Francisco and starting over. You have a whole house down there in Charlotte. So there's no way that you guys are going to be together, at least as it stands right now. Yep, I agree with that. Father used to tell me a guy will go as far as you let him. Yep. Hell to the yeah. They respect you as much as you respect yourself. If you want to get butt naked and run around the car 4 times, they'll open the door for you. You know what I mean? Let's say, Molly Duran, ask my opinion. What's your opinion, Molly Duran? Shucks. Slapping cheeks, James. Yeah, right. Clapping them cheeks. You know what I mean? He ain't gonna do it. Ooh, Michelle. I want to go there, but you're right. You're right. And matter of fact, Michelle, let's talk about what you just pointed out, Michelle. Excellent point. And here's Lizzie B. My father used to say, don't let players waste your time. And that's the whole thing. That's what Tim is trying to tell her. Like, this dude is wasting your time. And what I would even say in tandem to that, something I used to say all the time and I still say now, is that when you're sitting here wasting your time with Jamal, you're spending your time on somebody who has no intention on spending or investing any time in you. And while you're doing that, you're blocking your blessings. So there might be a guy at your job, a guy at the supermarket, a guy that, you run with or meet at the gym or see all the time. And that might be your guy. That might be your person. But you are blocked off from that person because if he's a half-decent dude, he's not going to get involved with your entanglement. So you're tied up and you're focusing on a dude who wants nothing to do with you. You're tied in with a guy who, again, I'll say it again for the people in the cheap seats. He wants nothing to do with you. So you're going to waste your time with this guy when you could be focusing on somebody else and experiencing those opportunities. Don't waste your time. Now, I'm not saying, again, if you about that life and you just trying to get, you trying to get your cheeks clapped, you trying to get your back bent, whatever you trying to do, trying to get your toes curled up, then go do you, boo-boo. If that's the life you want to live your life. Make yourself happy. However, don't say that you're trying to get a soulmate relationship, a marriage, or a husband, or boyfriend, or girlfriend, or wife out of that situation, and you're doing all the things that 304s do. Like, you can't it just don't match. You're at the you planting apple seeds looking forward to the day you're able to get orange juice and pick oranges. Like, it just doesn't make sense. So here's the thing that he had said. Let me click on this. Boop. Oh, so yeah, when they were talking at the thing. Let me see. Oh no, I already have that one. Oh, okay. We already talked about that. Yeah, let's take a look at this one. This is the one. This is where the shit start.
Do you have? You
But
seen
you
it with
don't need
me?
to. You're. Sorry to say, but brother,
I
like
don't need to see one.
how he treats Chloe as far as like
I do
that's
need to
his
see
daughter.
that, actually. Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
Right.
'cause we're gonna sit here and act like Tim is just a father of the year. We're gonna keep pretending that that's a thing.
Tim
Now look at
been married for
Veronica.
12
What is
years,
the
you
truth
know
now,
that, right?
dude? Y'all want to sit here and act like you're like parent of the year. You're not.
I'm not.
Dude.
I'm not a parent of the year, right?
But then why do you keep acting like it?
there's not.
See, that is where the shit crossed the line for me. Because you guys can talk all day about, like, bro, I don't understand why you don't like me, why you think I'm an ass, why I can't get along with Veronica, why you don't think we're a good match, or whatever the case may be. You can talk all day about that. But at the same time, the second you start talking about his ability to raise a child, that is where, in my opinion, and I'm going to go off a little bit, so excuse me, bear with me, folks. In my opinion, that is where Veronica should have stepped in and said, whoa, 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 you're crossing the line. Because whether you get along with Tim and Tim gets along with you, and no matter how y'all feel about each other, my daughter has nothing to do with this conversation. My child has nothing to do with whether you two get along or not. So what we're not going to do, we're not going to sit here and start throwing kids around and use them as a reason as to why we need to lever up. So if you don't like Tim, and Tim is saying, like, basically what Tim is saying is that I just want to make sure I'm going to keep my eye open. I want to watch him, and I'm going to get to learn him. I'm not going to trust him off rip. He's got to show me and demonstrate to me that he's a good guy to Veronica. I get that. He could say that as a friend, and his friend, Jamal's friend, could have said as a friend, well, I mean, technically, Tim, you know, Jamal don't have to prove shit to you about Veronica. That's up to Veronica and him. However they deal with each other is how they deal with each other. And leave Chloe out of it. Leave Chloe out of it. And I get Tim saying, I need to see that this dude is going to do the right thing by a child that I consider to be my daughter. Now, why is this important? For me, this is important because if Tim is taking a role as a man in that child's life, as an adult or a parent in that child's life, then that is an opportunity for him to make sure that the men that Veronica goes out and date, they do what I would do as a father. With my daughter, and me and my wife weren't together, and she out there messing around with a bunch of knuckleheads like Jamal, then I would want to meet those guys, look those guys in the face, and say to them, you have to make sure you're treating, you know, if you want to cheat on her, that's your business. But when it comes to my child, you need to understand that I'm around and I'm present. So if you do anything that's going to hurt my kids, then we're going to have an issue. We're going to have a full-on issue. Now, we may have a problem if you screw her around because she's my friend. We're going to have a problem there. But we're definitely going to have a problem if you start messing around with my kids. Especially, you know, math is math, folks. Let's keep it a buck. The thing with this type of relationship, and not even to be weird about age, it just is what it is. Veronica is 37. Jamal is 27. Chloe, Veronica's daughter, is 17. It's from where Jamal is dead in the center of Veronica, mother and child. Meaning, it's 10 years up for Jamal to date Veronica, but it's also 10 years down for Jamal to call himself messing around with Chloe. That would be something that I would take a look at. Now, I mean, not saying Jamal would do that, but I would have to make it known that I'm around and I'm looking. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. So yeah, Jamal gonna have to prove to me that it's okay for him to be around that little girl. Yes, absolutely. Oh, pardon my French. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see. Ruth Carroll. Veronica crossed her arms and legs, closed herself into protection posture. Yes, because she was hearing things she didn't want to hear. Mainly that Jamal didn't want to move to North Carolina to be with her. That's what she's focused on. And she's angry about that, and she's taking it out on Tim. And she's allowing Jamal, because Jamal doesn't like Tim, because Tim called Jamal, had the audacity to call Jamal out on his shit when they were sitting there on that couch during the tell-all. Tim told Jamal that he was just basically there for the good time fun, the bedroom fun, but he wasn't really there for Veronica, and his friend was going to suffer because of that, because she was already emotionally invested in him. Because at the time, Veronica, even though it was supposed to be her idea that Jamal could go do Jamal, and everybody's going to keep it open because I want to be the cool girl, when she was trying to be the cool girl, she's so busy trying to be cool and persuade him to be with her because she's super hip. What Tim knows is that Jamal admitted that he was still dating other people, he was still going out with other folks, and he was still having relations with other women. But his friend, Veronica, had already stopped dating and stopped looking for anybody else. So she was already emotionally investing in this relationship that wasn't going anywhere. It was just merely a fun time thing. Yep. I hate mornings. That decade between Jamal and Veronica are too much in her situation because of her daughter. That's why I think she should be with a guy who has his shit together. Get somebody. I say that regardless of the age thing. I agree with the age thing 100%, as I stated earlier. I 100% agree with that. But I would even take it a step further. No matter what age you are, try to date people who got their shit together. Life's too short, and you should not, as a partner, have to raise your partner. You know what I mean? Now, I'm not saying that they got to be, 100% built up, got to have a fame and a fortune all in line before you start dating them or consider them and giving them an opportunity. Hey, be a builder with them and grow and develop your lives together. There's nothing wrong with that. But what I am saying is make sure that they have the mindset to be able to do the things that you need them to do and be in a place and be present for you the way you need them to be present. There's a huge difference between that. Lizzie B. Which is the duty of the father? Make sure his daughter is safe. 100% Lizzie B. I wish I could give you the round of applause. I'm going to have to hook that up. But Tim needs to understand that his daughter is not an excuse to infiltrate and be informed of Veronica's relationship with other men. I agree with that too. Like I said, when it comes to the daughter stuff, if you wanted to truly be a co-parent thing, let Veronica be Veronica. Let her be an adult. She's an adult. Let her do her thing. If this is what you want, are you sure? Okay, hands off. I don't have an opinion about it. I will say this. As a friend and as a person who has opinions about stuff, I have been in situations where I have opinions about things and I see my friends about to make mistakes. If anything, I will voice my opinion or my concern. After I voice my opinion or my concern, I leave it alone. I say what I got to say. Pull that coattail. Hey, man, this is what I noticed. Hey, buddy, girlfriend, whatever the case may be. This is what I noticed. Yeah, there it is. And then you have to make your own choice. You have to make your own decision. Because I trust the people that I hang around with. That's also part of it. I hang around with people and I deal with people who are pretty much together psychologically so that way they can make their own decisions. They look for additional information. So if you're looking for that information, I provide that information and you take that information in and you decide to take that information and go your own way. Okay, that's all I needed. I just wanted to tell you, as your friend, I wanted to let you know what I saw. But I'm your friend. I'm not your father. So I'm not going to tell you what to do. Maybe we all got it wrong and Jamal has pure intentions with it. If this is the case, Tim should take a step back from her personal life. I think Tim should take a step back from her personal life. But again, I don't think Jamal has pure intentions. I think Jamal is absolutely trying to ice Tim out because Tim doesn't like him. Because no man, I have a bunch of other stuff. I can't organize it right. It'll take too long for me to organize it. But I had a bunch of stuff where I appreciate what you're saying, Michelle. And I understand what you're saying. Normally, I probably would agree with you 100%. But there are scenes where Tim is sitting there pouting. He's upset because Tim doesn't like him. And because Tim dared to question the type of relationship that they had and how, whether that relationship was good for his friend, knowing his friend. Like, you know your people. You know what they're capable of. You know if she's able to do like the wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, see you in the morning, see you never situations. You know that. You know whether they're able to do it. And if they're not able to do it, it doesn't really serve your friend if you pretend like they can do something that they absolutely positively can't do. And it doesn't help the situation when they're committed to keep ramming their head against the wall, pretending like things are going to be different. Donna Reed, you're right the first time, James, because that is a possibility. She can't undo that mistake. He hurt Veronica. That's on her. But your daughter, those are mistakes you can't fix. And I think that that's part of the concern too, is that because I think that that's also something that I think goes into it as well. Because as I mentioned earlier, as a non-custodial, non-biological parent, Tim doesn't have a say. So if Veronica, blocks Tim off and tells Tim that he can't contact her minor daughter any longer, he's stuck. He can't call her. And if Jamal, and not in this situation, but let's just say, we'll say Mr. Fred, and we'll change the names. If Mr. Fred gets with Susie, and Susie has a daughter, and Mr. Fred is interested in going after Susie's daughter, right? And Susie tells the guy who has raised her daughter for 12 years, you can't call her, you can't talk to her, I want no contact, there's nothing that guy can do. And all that does is open the door for, I think I said Fred to start going after Susie's daughter. With no breaks, no nothing to stop it. If he can start corralling her, start grooming her, start seducing her, and start acting upon that, then he has full access. And then that puts you in a situation where once things happen, it's one thing, like as fathers, we always sit there and say, fathers and parents, mothers do it too, Mama Bear, Mama Grizzly, we always take the position, if somebody hurts my child, I'm going to do bop. I'm not afraid of going to jail. I'm going to do all kinds of crazy stuff. I'm kidnapping them. I got, I used to tell people all the time, I got credit cards for Lowe's and Home Depot. And I got big balances. I got huge credit lines. I got enough stuff where I can get you for weeks. I can have you alive for weeks, if not months. They'll never find you, right? But I can talk all that crazy stuff, but the whole point is that I want to put my child in a situation where she doesn't have to deal with the trauma of dealing with these negative things. That's the whole point. Like, you want to prevent these problems. I'm not saying Jamal is going after Veronica's daughter, but I don't trust Jamal's ass. I don't know that dude. So I would have concerns about it. And if I was in Tim's situation, I would want to make sure that this shit is copacetic, especially if their relationship is sexually charged. And he seems to be all about the booty. It ain't her beauty, it's her booty. So if he's all concerned about that, I would be looking at that relationship, because if he does, especially if he has a very lax approach to how he conducts himself and how he sees himself. Again, I'm not a prude. I'm not one of them people that, you got to be the... But at the same time, you got to make sure that, everybody is firing, or at least approaching things the same way you would want them to approach them, the same way you would approach them. Let's take a look at this. Sherry K, you're 100% right, and I'm surprised that Veronica is so free with herself, and especially being in a public, that the way she is, after her experience with Justin, yeah, right? You telling shit. Mister, I'm going to reveal a secret. Yes, I have an STD. What? Okay, we're going to go to the hotel anyway. Well, turn this whole ship around. She should have known much better. Yeah, and maybe that's something that we're all missing too, because there was a relationship that Veronica had previous to Jamal, which put her on single life, where she was dating a guy, and it was an opportunity for him to do the wham bam, thank you ma'am, in and out, stuff. And he was talking about moving back to Florida and the whole nine, and she lost her mind because he had kids and he was going to move to Florida, so he had a support system for his kids, and she lost her mind. I can't believe you would do this to me, because we was having a whole relationship. We did some things. We went out 3 times, and we had a whole weekend together, a sexcation together on the 3rd date. And I can't believe that you wouldn't be in a relationship with me and be ready to commit and set things up so that we could be together. And then she jumps into the freewheeling. All of a sudden, I can have this open relationship with this young guy. That's where Tim is coming from. Now, I think that's a necessary thing. Thank you, Sherry, for reminding me of that. Because that's a necessary thing that we got to put into place. That she's already had a relationship where she could have had an open, wide open relationship and did all this stuff. And she absolutely said that she couldn't do it. And psychologically, emotionally, she couldn't handle it. So then she gets hooked up with a guy who she's attracted to and wants to be with. And she tries to engage in that relationship. This guy, Jamal, she's even more attracted to than the other guy. So, I mean, she's just setting herself up to get hurt. Angela Hendrick. Thanks for showing up and being you. Thank you so much. Thank you for showing up. How about that? Thank you for the super chat as well. I appreciate it. You're amazing. Let me call up this other one, because once we started getting into the whole thing where he started to bring up Chloe, the daughter, and then like I said, at no point while he was bringing up Chloe did Veronica turn around and put a stop to it. My expectation is put a stop to it. Look, we're not talking about her. You guys got to figure it out between the two of you. Okay? Let's be adults. Tim isn't interested in dating Veronica. He's not trying to go out with her. There was plenty of opportunity for Tim to get back with Veronica over the course of 12 years that they've been together. That if he wanted to be with her, there was plenty of opportunity where the two of them could have got back together. If it was going to happen, it would have been happened. You know what I mean? So it's not a thing where Tim is waiting around for Veronica to become available so he could start dating her. What it comes down to is that Tim is maybe over asserting himself and bringing his morals and applying his morals to Veronica. Maybe Veronica want to be the wild child, the get fun time girl. But at the same time, it's like usually you see it with middle-aged men. Everybody wanted to jump in and do all this wild stuff until you try to jump in there and start doing that wild stuff. And you bring your heart with you. Because it's, as much as people say that, there is a point where you have to look at it. And in our culture, in our society, we try to pretend as though being able to have wild, free, open relationships is somehow a positive or some kind of skill. Taking all moral assignment to it, whether it's moral or immoral, it just is what it is. It is a particular skill set for you to be able to have a relationship. It's a different skill set for you to be able to go into a bedroom and not have any feelings about the person that you're in the bedroom with one way or another. That's a different set of skills. Now, if you are built one way where you can do that, it makes it harder for you to have a commitment and pair bond with somebody in a marriage, relationship, or committed situation. Then if you could just, walk in and sleep, change bed partners like you change drawers, then it doesn't, the chances that you're going to be able to walk out of that situation with that mindset and be able to go into a marriage is hard. Now, not impossible, but it's difficult. And that's where I think Veronica is kind of struggling at. Let's see. I hate mornings. Veronica needs to stop with these fuckboys like Justin, now Jamal. Yes. I don't see the relationship working with Jamal. Hopefully Veronica meets a nice guy and stop selling herself short. And that's the thing. It's what you want out of life. Because you're selling yourself short, not because one relationship is necessarily better than the other, at least in my perspective. It's not that, having partners and all that is a bad thing, but at the same time, if your goal, not my goal, your goal is to get married, have a relationship, build a family, than you dating guys who have no interest in dating in a committed situation, committing themselves to a relationship, then getting married, have zero interest in that. You wasting your time with that person is you wasting your time. Because that tree is bearing no fruit. Lizzie B, that is what I'm saying. He needs boundaries with the mother of his child. Veronica needs to talk to him about it. Yeah. She didn't. Yeah, I would expect her to pull that up. But let's take a listen, because we're going to get into it a little more. Let's get into it a little more. I'm going to go crazy long tonight, guys, so don't worry. I just got to make sure I got the right thing. Let me take a look at it. Pull it over here. Okay, here we go. Oops.
Tim, you're...
Yeah, should have set this up earlier. Yeah, this is the one that I'm like, what the hell?
Tim, you're a bitch, dude. Why do you...
Whoa! Did I ever claim to be
Also,
father
what
of the
you're
year?
not gonna do is raise your voice
What
at me.
you're not gonna do is question me being a dad to Chloe.
Guys, no.
You're way below the line.
No, dude,
You're
I
way
know the
below the
truth.
line.
I know the truth.
You don't know.
He tells me
I
everything.
raised her for 12 years. I raised her for 12 years.
See, this is that crazy part. Like I said, he crossed the line. When you start talking about a child or a child that I'm involved with, you're crossing the line. You're going too far. And that's part of the issue. Is that when he started doing that, this is part of the reason why Veronica could have headed a lot of that off by stopping the conversation, and we're going to stop talking about my daughter. Period. Full stop. We're going to stop talking about her because she has nothing to do with this. And in this situation, how does Veronica go back? Okay, fine. Yeah, we're going to have to hit that. Whoa. Before I get into that, excellent point, Michelle. Proof Veronica is talking shit about Tim to Jamal. Why is Veronica talking shit about Tim to Jamal? MJC, I got something for that too. She's going along with what Jamal says. Why is she going along with what Jamal says? Because Jamal, this is why I think that, not to categorize. I don't really like categorizing people. But if I was going to categorize and step out on a limb and go against even my own principles, I would call Jamal more of in the vein of a having narcissistic tendencies, because he's concerned about his image and he doesn't like anybody who challenges his image and how he perceives himself, and or more to the point, how he wants other people to perceive him. His insecurities are high as hell, and he doesn't want people to challenge him. Tim challenges him. Tim challenges what he's about, because he sits there and pretend like he's a cool guy because he gets to sleep with all these women and he's sexy and he's fun and everybody likes me. And then all of a sudden Tim comes in and says, no, my friend deserves better. She deserves a man who's going to be committed to her and committed to her child. Whoa, now all of a sudden you don't like me? Whoa. What is this about? Now I'm sad and I'm depressed and I'm angry. And because I'm sad, depressed, and angry, now I have to come after Tim. And because Tim questions my value and questions who I am and questions what I'm about, so I have to tear him down. And more importantly, I need Veronica to go along with me while I'm tearing Tim down so that I feel better. And Veronica wanting to be on Jamal's side and ingratiate herself to Jamal because she's already selling herself short, which is also a problem, because she's already selling herself short and not doing the things that she wants to do and getting the stuff that she wants out of the relationship. She's going along with Jamal, which is part of the reason why I don't like, I'm not a big fan of this type of situation, because when you are willing to sell yourself out, you will definitely sell me out. If she's willing to lower herself and do things that are beneath her standard and positions that she puts herself in, then so that she can try to attain this relationship with Jamal because that's what's important to her, then she has no problem throwing Tim's ass under the bus first. MJC 427, why does Jamal need two of his friends there? He needs two of his friends there because let's talk a little bit about Tim. Tim How does Tim make money? Tim makes a really good amount of money. He makes a good living. You know how Tim makes a living? Tim customizes handguns or firearms. He's a what they call an armorer. Okay, he takes guns apart, put them back together, and usually more powerful, or he beautifies the weapon. He does really good work. Like, to be honest with you, he does some really nice work. So he's an artist when it comes to that. But being down south and the fact that that is his business, Jamal, if you going to jump up, just as a piece of advice, if you going to jump your ass up at Tim, you might want to go ahead and step into him. Because with three of y'all there, you know, you mess around and Tim pull a blinky on you. And then it's lights out. Clank, clank, you know what I mean? You start plinking. So you got to be careful. I think it's dumb. I think it's a dumbass argument to have. And it's a dumb reason to jump up and call yourself threatening people, you know, and putting yourself in a physical harm because you want to call him a name. It's a dumb reason for people to throw their lives away, you know, both on Jamal's part and on Tim's part, putting himself in that situation. Tim, walk away. If he's acting silly and retarded like that, be like, look, oh, pardon my French, not didn't mean to say the R word, but he's acting silly and immature, then be willing to walk away. Be done with the situation. It's over. You know what I mean? And you call Chloe up, like, Chloe, I'll pick you up on Saturday or whatever. We keep our relationship going. But as far as your mom is concerned with this dude, I'm falling back. You deal with him. I'm not going out with you and him. Y'all deal with each other. I don't want to talk about him, your relationship with him. I don't want to have nothing to do with it. I just want to be able to talk to you about Chloe. If it's something about Chloe, something about you, awesome. If it's something about your relationship with him, I don't have an opinion. Then leave it there. If you want to continue your relationship with Veronica, I think that's the best way for them to proceed. Because where she is right now, she's looking for somebody to blame. She's blaming Tim as the reason why Jamal ain't moving to North Carolina. No, lady, it's because of you. And you people, you don't have the magic. You don't have the magic stuff. You're not changing no minds out here. You're not changing the world with the poom poom. You're not. You know, it is what it is. Lizzie B. Two betas acting like alphas. Yeah, that's fair. Fair call. Hey, Veronica's part of this issue. She likes the attention. Yeah. Because I think as long as the two of them are arguing and fighting, she feels like what's his name wants her to the point where he's willing to. Oh well, my thing is wrong. He likes her and he's willing to do this for her. And because he's willing to go through he's about to fight for me. No, lady, he's not fighting for you. He's fighting for himself. He's fighting because he's defending his image, not your honor. There's a difference. There's a subtle difference. But I think she gets off on it because it makes her feel like if Jamal does this extra step, then he really wants me. He really likes me. He really wants to be with me. And that's not the case. I hate mornings. Tim may not be Chloe's biological daughter, but he did raise her. Absolutely. He's been a part of her life. And that was one of the points that I wanted to make. Thank you for reminding me. I hate mornings. How do you go home, if you're Veronica, how do you go home and tell your daughter that the man who's been in her life for 12 years and has the only male figure, only father figure that she's known over the course of 12 years because Tim came into her life when she was a baby, when she was very young. How do you tell her that man is no longer going to be around because you like sleeping with this other guy? Like, what are you thinking? Like, and that's where it starts to get into like a lot of the parenting issues and so on and so forth. Like, how much you're so worried about what's going on with you. You're not worrying about what's going on with your child or what's in her best interest. Because she's, again, the same thing you would say to a guy who's coming into that relationship. Jamal, you got to understand that Chloe is a package deal with Veronica. At the same time, Veronica, Chloe is a package deal. If you have a man that has already come into your life and you have passed that child off as his daughter, and you've facilitated them bonding in that form and in that fashion, in that relationship, you facilitated that. How do you then go back and tear that relationship down just because you're starting to mess with another guy? This is what I was talking about with the guy I knew, the guy that I was talking about story time earlier. the guy that I knew. Like, how do you just pull a rug out from our whole world? It's cruel in a lot of ways. Lita Miller, Tim's more of a man than Jamal. I agree with that. I give Tim credit because, again, I understand where Tim is coming from. I give Tim credit because he stepped in where he didn't have to step in. There's guys who aren't taking... We watch 90 Day Sister Wives. A lot of us watch Sister Wives together. We're watching a man in Sister Wives, Cody Brown, who won't take responsibility for any of his kids. He has 18 children. 3 of which are not his biological children, but he has, 14, 15, 11, 12. So he has, I guess 15. Yeah, he's got 15 kids that are his biological children, but he's only worried about 2 of those biological children and 3 of the adopted children in total. The other children, the other OG-13, he walked away from. And he's not concerned with. So you have instances on this same network where you have guys who have children and aren't concerned with those kids at all. You have a guy who's taking care of a child who he has no biological reason. Like, Tim could have walked away from Veronica's daughter and nobody could say anything to him about him not dealing with her no more. Chloe anymore. In fact, there will probably be guys that get on here and say, oh, Tim was right for leaving her because it wasn't his baby, it wasn't his responsibility. That's on her. That's her business. So Tim did the right thing by stepping in. And if you have that relationship, you build that relationship, and you take responsibility for that relationship, then you have a duty to make sure that you try to maintain that relationship as best you can. Whereas, yeah, he does a good job. Like, I've seen a lot of his work. He does a really good job. Michelle, Tim's back. Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Like, how you step up, you got to make sure you know what you're dealing with. Because, dude, he might lay some folks down out there. Like, you don't want to be in that situation. It's a dumb reason to get into that situation. It's a dumb reason to catch a case, and it's a dumb reason to be looking at the top of a church. You understand what I mean? Some slow singing and foul bringing. It's a dumb reason. It's a dumb reason. Like, this was a dumb fight. It's not a dumb fight, but it's a dumb argument. Because, again, this is a situation where Veronica should have stopped this shit from the start. Stop talking about my child. You disagree with Tim, you could disagree with Tim all day. Call him an asshole. Do what you got to do. I might as well go ahead and start cursing because I think I dropped some anyway. But go ahead, call him what you going to call him. Tim, say what you going to say. You guys figure it out. But leave my daughter out of it. That's Veronica. Leave my daughter out of it. You stop talking to Jamal you stop running Tim down to Jamal. Stop running Jamal down to Tim. And then expecting these two to sit in a room and get along and be able to have a conversation. Say what you got to say. Take the position that you're going to take. Be a whole damn woman. Be that independent, strong woman that you purport yourself to be. So if you are saying that this is the guy that you want to spend time with, you pull Tim aside. Look, Tim, back off. This is the guy I want to spend time with. You need to understand that. You need to respect me and respect my decision. That's what you tell Tim. Don't worry, you know what I mean? We're going to look out for Chloe. We're going to continue with Chloe. But as far as Jamal is concerned, leave Jamal alone. I got Jamal. You worry about being you and Chloe. You maintenance these relationships. I will respect that. I will respect her going to Jamal. Don't worry about Tim. I'll handle Tim. Tim is dealing. If you have an issue with Tim, you go ahead and deal with Tim on your stuff. But leave my daughter out of it. I will respect that. Tim, I would say to Tim, when it comes to that relationship with her and Jamal, stop getting yourself involved with that. Because you're only putting yourself in a bad situation. Because what can happen, and this is the unfortunate part. What can happen is you mess around and you allow Jamal to drag you down, and Jamal puts Veronica in a situation where she feels like she needs to make a choice, because that's coming soon, where Jamal's going to look her in the face and tell her she's got to make a choice. And unfortunately for Tim, and unfortunately, more importantly for Chloe, I kind of have the feeling that Veronica's going to make the wrong choice. And she's going to choose a guy who's not going to be there for it. It's sad to watch from that respect. Lita Miller and Ruth. Yes, Jamal's father was in prison. They talk about it on 90 Day with his mom. Yeah, I think his dad was in prison, but she was also messing around with other guys. So from that respect, and I might also just go ahead and run it out there. It says a lot about how Jamal and his friends, their expectation for Tim. They have the expectation I was talking about earlier, where you're dating a young lady, she has a child, and the second that things don't work out between you and that young lady, you cut the kid off too. That's Jamal's expectation. And that could be reminiscent or be indicative of the relationships that Jamal had with his mom's boyfriends. You know, once they got finished knocking off Kim and they got tired of her and they wanted to dump her and they took off on her, then they stopped dealing with Jamal too. You know, maybe that's what he's used to and that's what he's expecting Tim to do. So he doesn't, and Jamal's, because of his upbringing, maybe Jamal's not in a situation where he could see a man being interested in a woman beyond sex. And that's a possibility. Alita Miller, that's a sad situation. MJC 427. Wasn't Jamal's mom Kimberly a single mom? Yes. He should understand. You would think that. And one of the sad things is, and actually it's ironic you say that, because one of the sad things that happened during the tell-all is exactly what I said happened. Is that when Jamal was first introduced to the 90 Day Fiance fans and family, he was brought in as a defender of Kim. Kim, who is being used by a younger guy. I'll say it one more again. Kim, his mom, who is being used by a younger guy who was just trying to get something from her. It may not have been physical, but she was getting used twice by the same guy. Was getting used by a younger guy for a financial advantage and for an opportunity to come to America. Not sexual, but being used. And he had to sit there and hug his mom and console his mom and make his mom feel better because she, like Veronica, was agreeing to go along with things that she didn't agree with. She agreed. She went as far as to say that the guy that she was dating, a guy named Usman from Africa, Nigeria, he could have another wife. And, they're going to be polygamous together. Prodigy! So he could have another wife so that he could have a baby with this woman. But she was going to be the first wife and he was going to treat her a certain kind of way. And when she agreed with that foolishness, she didn't really believe in it and she was going along with it. And because she went along with something she didn't believe in, she got her heart broke. And Jamal, had to help her pick the pieces up. Then he turns right around and he does the same thing. You are the Usman in this situation. So the person that you criticized and talked about during your first 2 or 3 appearances on the show is the exact person that he actually turns out to be. Just saying. Yes, Jamal has zero emotional maturity. Maybe a personality test came back like Robin. She likes the drama. Maybe she likes the drama. I think sometimes when you're not getting the attention that you want, you like the arguments, you like the frustration, you like the chaos around you because you feel like it adds value to your situation. Michelle Vito. This whole mess is Veronica's fault. She should have set boundaries with both from jump. Absolutely. And like I said, Tim is a friend. I've been there in situations. Like I said, I've been in these situations, not necessarily like this specifically, but I've been in situations where my friends were dating people and I'm looking like, hey man, this is my new lady. No. I met you, you know what I mean? Nice to meet you, James. Yeah, I met you. We'll say you're nice to meet them. But you respect the fact that they're an adult and they have to make their own choices. If I have an observation or something that I want to share, I share it. And if necessary, if they're happy, like I said, story time. I had a friend, good friend, very good friend. And he met a young lady. And the two of them got along, and I think I told this story before, but the two of them met, they getting along like gangbusters. He was having a tough time meeting people that he was really connecting with. He connected with her. They connected with each other. But me and her, we didn't get along at all. And mostly she didn't get along with me. I pretty much get along with everybody. But she didn't get along with me. Like, because I could say the sky is blue. And she would argue with me that the sky is red, green, purple, orange. And it got to a point where she would just disagree with me to disagree with me. Right? And I noticed, like, one of the last few times that I spoke to her, I noticed that when I'm sitting there talking to her, she would start disagreeing with me, and we'll start going back and forth. And before, it would be within 5-10 minutes of us having this back and forth conversation, heated conversation, she would turn around, and before I know it, she would be stating or restating my point. So basically, she was arguing with herself. Like, so I would say something, I would say A, she would say, no, 1. And I'd say, no, it's A because of bop, 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 bop. She would say, no, it's 1 because of bop, 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 bop. And within 5 minutes, she would say, like I said, it's A. All right. And it just got to that point. And so recognizing that this is somebody that my friend is connected to and somebody that's important to him, I took a step back. I fell back. Right? Because it's not important if this is his person and a person he wants to be with and this person is important to him, he's important enough to me as my friend that this is important to you, I'm going to fall back. And that's what I did. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I respect your decision. If this is who you want to be with, I respect you. And I want you to be happy. So I'm going to go ahead and fall back. Because if I keep staying in this situation, I'm only going to make your relationship with her worse. And it's going to come apart. And you're not going to be happy. And it's going to be my fault. We're not going to be friends anyway. Because you're going to blame me. So you got to learn your boundaries, where you can operate, where you can't. And in some respect, you have to just be their friend. Sometimes being their friend is pulling that coattail and warning them about things. Sometimes being that friend is just knowing when to step back, fall back, and being there when it all falls apart. And to help them put it back together. That's just being a friend. Being friends are hard. Like, sometimes it's not an easy gig, man. Sometimes you just got to be willing to sit there and bite nails. Molly Duran, she's officially voted off the island. No more Veronica. I hate mornings. Michelle, that's where Veronica always goes wrong because she never sets up those boundaries. Thank you. And I agree with that too. Because I think, again, one of the things that I've always said, and I'll keep saying probably to the day I die. When push them down the shove, 1, get to know yourself, know what you want out of life. Get to know your weaknesses, your strengths. Appreciate them, love them, know them, back and forth. Be brutally honest with yourself. If you're brutally honest with yourself, that gives you the freedom to be brutally honest with other people. If you can be honest about your situation, you can be honest about their situation, and you can be honest about your situation together. And once you do that, it's easier for you to decide and see what aids you in getting the things that you want out of life and helps you reach your goals. And because you have an understanding of where you are and where you're going, it's easier for you to recognize what helps you and what hurts you, and for you to set the boundaries so that you don't encounter things that become obstacles in your life. Setting those boundaries is important. Setting in boundaries is important for all relationships. What things that you can talk about, things you can't talk about, ways that you can push me, ways that you can't push me. It's just important. Jen Sargent, hi James, this is my first live with you. Love your show. You're doing a great job. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm trying my best. I got, didn't set it up like I wanted to, but we're going to move forward regardless, because that's how we roll over this way. We just going to make it work. Oh, there it is. Look, Molly, make it work. Right on time. Manny C. Jamal is not ready for a relationship with a single mom. I agree. Absolutely. It's work. I have a lot of respect for Tim. And that's the thing. Like, dating a single mom or dating a single parent, mom or dad, whatever, is not it's not for the weak. It's not something that you play around with. because there's other people involved. Like you should, and let's be honest, you shouldn't play around with people's hearts, feelings, and emotions anyway. Child or no child, you shouldn't do that. And if you recognize, and regardless of what somebody says, if you recognize that somebody can't do the thing that they say that they are willing to do, and you just feel like, okay, this is going to be a disaster, have enough integrity to you say, no, this ain't going to work. If you know, and I've said this here, story time, I've said this about stars. Like people who are famous and get caught up in these types of situations and relationships. When Tiger Woods, he was popular for a long time. He got married to and here's the crazy part. Like his wife, his ex-wife, was actually like an underwear model. Like she supposedly had perfect, boom, boom, boom. And like it looked so good that they could actually take pictures of it, and it was supposed to be amazing. Like that's her job. And this dude stepped out on that. Like he was cheating on that. And my thing was, you knew when you proposed to her, you started dating her, and you knew when you asked her to marry her that you weren't done. You weren't done messing around. Now, there's nothing wrong with you saying to yourself, you know what? I'm not ready to settle down yet. I still got a lot of stuff, a lot of miles to travel before I'm ready to settle in. Let me go ahead and do that. And I would have respected Tiger if he would have said, look, I don't want to get married yet. I want to keep playing the field. I want to, I'm not going to say that. That's rough. But, I want to have a different woman all the time, or whatever the case may be. Apparently he likes Subway sandwiches and Hooters, right? Hooters? Subway? All right. So he's willing to do that. Do that. But don't get married and don't have kids knowing full well that you're not done. I want to get married. I'm going to tie myself to a woman. I'm going to break her heart. And I'm going to bring kids about so that way I can really hurt her. And I know, and doing the stuff that you should be able to do it. You can do it. Nobody is saying that you can't date folks and you can't engage in these types of relationships. It's just wrong when you do it and you have a family at home. And that's kind of where I'm at. So yeah, it's about the boundaries. And when it comes to you dating a single mom, you gotta be ready to do that. You have to be willing to recognize the fact that there are kids involved, and you want to make sure that things are settled and things are moving forward in a positive way. Chloe is 17 years old. Lady 001X. Chloe is 17 years old. I'm hoping Veronica and Tim have raised a mature enough teenager to draw a line with whoever her mom happens to be seeing and continue a relationship with her, Tim, as her father. Yes, I hope so too. I think that she will, because she seems like she has her head screwed on pretty good. So if Chloe was 12, this would be a different situation. Yeah, but my whole thing is, I agree with that. I do agree. But I think that you don't bring kids into it. Like, if you have a disagreement, you don't bring kids. Like, the number one way that shit goes south is you start bringing children into an argument. Especially when they have no place in that argument. Raspberry, thank you for the super chat. $2 super chat. When service people give me attitude, I show them the basement where my dad's plentiful hunting trophies live. Yeah, I feel you. I got trophies too. I know what you're saying. Let's see. I will never equate these. Some folks are all about the drama. Yeah. Shooting Paul's out. Go drama, it's your birthday. Yeah. Go drama, it's your birthday. Put your thing down, it's your birthday. We're gonna party like it's your birthday. Yeah. Story time with Lizzie B. Let's see. Lizzie B. James, my dad used to do that to my mom. After so much disagreeing, he asked her to be his girlfriend. They got married and have been together since 1984. Do what? used to come swing through, or tell he wasn't interested. And sometimes, I mean, look, sometimes it works that way, because it also depends on where the guy is. Maybe he's hesitant about doing something because he has other things that he's trying to take care of, or other things on his plate that he's worried about. Whatever the case may be, every situation is different. But what I'm saying is that anytime when people tell you something, believe them when they tell you. To assume that they're telling you the truth. Operate as though they're telling you the truth. You're not trying to figure it out. So, you can, I guess that's contradictory to what I said earlier when I said that you have to take into account that some people aren't serious about it. If you're really involved with certain things, like especially certain activities, and based on some of the conversations that you have with people around those activities, you start to realize that they're not serious about that shit, don't involve them in this stuff that you're talking about. If you, for instance, in Jamal's case, him and Veronica have had conversations about having an open relationship. And every time you talk to Veronica, she's talking about you coming down and maybe committing to her. And if you guys do commit, you moving down to her state, but you have no interest in moving to her state. You have no interest in truly being a parent, because let's be honest, if Tim is in Chloe's life as a parent and you're telling Tim that he should no longer be around because it doesn't make you feel comfortable because you can't move forward with Veronica if Tim's there. But then when asked if you plan on moving in to Tim's place by moving down to North Carolina so you can be around for not only Veronica but be around for Chloe, and your response is, no, I don't want to move to North Carolina because I'm gonna have to make new friends, then you have to take that into account before you tell Tim that you can't talk to him anymore. That's all I'm saying. Perhaps she has a thing for you, James, and don't want it to show. I'm not sure what that's in reference to. Let's see. Full stop. Is the camera going fuzzy? I don't know. Is the camera going fuzzy? I don't think so. Jen Saligan, welcome in the house. This is Mace Chill. James, the Kardashians have money, looks, and fame, and they get cheated on all the time. LOL. It matters not. This is true. Maturity is the real issue. This is also true. And that's what I'm saying. Like, look, when I say that she had the perfect boom, 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 pop, 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 what I'm talking about is that at the end of the day, people might not be walking around with picture perfect, model level, where people in where the fashion industry is like, oh my goodness, it's amazing. Give her $50 million, so we can take pictures of the boom boom Bible rap, right? And then she's getting cheated on. Jay-Z, Beyonce. I hear people on these shows all the time. I'm gonna be like Jay-Z. I'm gonna be like Beyonce. Jay-Z cheated on Beyonce. Now, if you look at the two of them physically, Jay-Z should not even be with Beyonce. In no universe would this happen, ever. If he wasn't rich as hell, this would never happen. But in that situation, like I said, Jay-Z has cheated on Beyonce several times. It happens all the time. Looks don't mean anything, like when it comes down to it. It's about your maturity, and more importantly, it's not just maturity, it's about your character. And what kind of person are you? Are you the kind of person where your word actually means something? Your promise and your commitment actually means something? Or are you the kind of person where it doesn't? It's just something you said. It was something to do on a Saturday night. I got to dress up. We got to have the open bar. Our friends and family got to gather around. We got to celebrate in the church, and we got to party and shake our groove thing. Then we got to go on vacation for a week. Then after that, we got to live together for a little bit. But between that time and between now, from then to now, I pretty much try to get as much as I can from wherever I can. That's your commitment. That's your level of character. And in this case, it's where you are. So I have no issues if you're honest with what it is you're trying to do, and you're honest with yourself, and you're honest with the people that you're dealing with. Then knock yourself out. Do you, boo boo? But if you're holding yourself out to be something you're not, and you're not being honest with yourself, then you're only putting yourself in a situation where you're going to get hurt. And that's where I see Veronica headed. Yeah, Tiger couldn't stop cheating. Like, that dude was cheating with everybody. Tiger cheated on his ex-wife with multiple women. It wasn't just one that he fell in love with. No, that's what I mean. He was running through. That's why I said Subway and Hooters. Like, if he went to a restaurant, he was trying to pick the waitress up. That thing was a fiasco. I would have divorced him too. It was a shameful thing he did to his wife and kids. Yeah, I agree. But my whole thing is, again, when Tiger, before he got married, you know you're not done. You know you're not done messing around, and you're not done going to every time you go to the bar, the club, or the restaurant, you go to Hooters, because that's where he was picking a lot of his girls up at. He was picking them up at like Hooters and like casual dining places. So you show up at these places, give them half a Subway sandwich or whatever, do your thing, boom, boom, bap, 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 and you out. You know you're not done. You know you're not done. So when you meet this woman, I forget her name, but he met his ex-wife before he married her, you know you're not done. Why go through the expense, the time, the energy, the effort, the emotional investment of marrying this woman, knowing full well that you're not done messing around with every other woman that you think that you want to mess with? You know you're not done. So why put yourself in that situation? He did that to himself. So when people sit around and cry about, oh, Tiger Woods got divorced and his wife took him under financially, she took half his money, she took his house and knocked it down. Because she messed around, she married a billionaire. So she double, tripled her money. But if you, oh yeah, you see what happened to Tiger Woods. Tiger did that shit to himself because you knew you weren't done. You didn't have to do this. You didn't have to marry that woman. It's not like somebody was standing like, you gonna marry her or something gonna happen to you. Pull a pow, pew, pew on you and you gonna marry you or I'm breaking your legs. No, you chose to marry her. In the same way you chose to marry her, you knew you weren't finished messing around. So get it out your system. Do what you want to do. Make your decisions. But don't drag somebody else into your bad choices. That's all I was saying. Raspberry, Carrie Fisher, a.k.a. Princess Leia's mom, was popular actress Debbie Reynolds, okay, who is married to Eddie Fisher. Eddie still left her for Elizabeth Taylor. Yeah. Elizabeth Taylor was a shark though. Like, she was no joke. Like, she was running through Hollywood. Elizabeth Taylor was no joke. You know, some of the young bucks don't know who Elizabeth Taylor was. Look up. She's OG, triple OG. You know what I mean? She signified. Yeah, you guys don't have to watch the show. It's just that, like, I try to have these conversations because there's something will happen. Like, we can talk about that. That's an issue that we can talk about. Like, because the whole thing is, my whole point and ploy of talking about this, and I'll wrap it up. What's this? But also, Tiger was a dorky kid, so he probably did have women falling all over him. He got famous, so it went to his head. I agree with that, Mace Chill. But see, here's the thing. This is where having an OG, or at least an older, more experienced person, respect your elders. This is where this kind of comes into play. If he had anybody in his life who would have pulled him aside, a friend. That's why I said I should start my own business. James, friend to the stars. Right? Make better choices for a better life. But a friend pull him aside. Man, what are you getting married for? Like you said, you were a dorky kid. You didn't have a lot of opportunities when you were a young man. Now you have all this money. You have all this fame. You have all these women who used to make fun of you, used to laugh at you, used to tease you, and used to say all kinds of wild shit about you. Now, these same women want to date you. Right? So now's your chance to go out there and do you, boo-boo. You can make it happen. You don't have to settle down. You don't have to be that person if you don't want to be. You don't have to be a husband. Nobody's forcing you to do it. You can be the person that you want to be. The type you want. You can live your life the way you want to live. You can be as wild as you want to be, and nothing's going to happen. Isn't that great? Because here's somebody else. Like, because this guy also talked about when he was younger. Some of you will recognize this one. Here's another guy. When he was young, is Mr. Dennis Rodman. I gotta get a better picture. That one's terrible. Let me see. But when he started out, he also complained that, when he was coming up, people didn't like him, people didn't care about him, and the girls used to make fun of him and all that crazy stuff. And he felt a certain kind of way about it. Oh, there it is. Some of these pictures come in so small. Like, that's Dennis Rodman. And so a lot of people look at that, they say, oh my goodness, that dude looked ridiculous. But he was getting all kinds of women. I ran into him one time when I was out and about. When I was a young man, because I was crazy. I ran into Dennis Rodman's ass. He is fun. Like, he had a lot of women around him. We hung out for a bit. But, a lot of women around him. And he was one of them guys, when he was a young guy, clearly, he wasn't the most attractive dude when he was a young kid, because that's how he looked. But when he started getting that money, he started getting famous. A lot of the people started paying attention to him. A lot of the women started paying attention to him and started living that life. But you have to have the discipline in yourself to recognize and be honest with yourself. If this isn't, you didn't have this opportunity when you were younger, and this is what you want to do with yourself, make those decisions. But don't drag other people into your bad decisions or into your decisions. I won't even say bad decisions, into your decisions. Makes sure, I don't think that that was the issue with Tiger. I think the fame as his celebrity grew allowed him to have anyone he wanted, and all of a sudden he allowed his dick to make decisions. Yeah. But I think that's part of it, though. He allowed it to make decisions, but you could but the whole thing is, my thing is that you could allow it to make decisions, but you have to make the decision not to tie yourself to somebody else. That's all I'm saying. Is that he could have made the decision not to get himself tied to another person, especially somebody who's going to rip his pockets to half, rip his pockets to pieces. I used to work with college athletes and saw it all the time with athletes, but also the coaches. They got wins and their fame increased, and now they have a squad and messing around. Yeah. I can see that. I mean, like I said, I've seen it too. I know guys that played professional ball and, famous folks and people have been in projects and things of that nature. So I've seen it. But I would always say, like, if you are not ready to settle down, don't settle down. You don't have to. You don't have to. If this is what you want to do, go do you. Let's see. Somebody's talking about Stacey and Darcy. Yeah, they sure got canceled. Yeah, they're no longer on TLC. They got all them surgeries. Prince. Hey, Kat, what's going on? Yeah, Mace Chuck. Look, that's why I first started thinking about it. When Michael Jackson was getting in trouble, like, no. James, I'm gonna bring the kids to Wonderland. No, we not. We gonna have their parents drop. No, the hell we not. No, we not. We ain't doing that. I don't mind the kids coming to. It wasn't Wonderland. Neverland. I don't care, mind the kids coming to Neverland, but their parents will be with them the entire time. How about that? We're not babysitting nobody. So if you want your kid to come to Neverland, you bring your kid to Neverland and you get to enjoy the park and the facilities with them, and it'll be a great time for the family. But then when the sun go down and we send the kids and the mama's home and everybody home, then we there tear Neverland to pieces, Jack. I said that with Mike Tyson too. Mike, you don't need to be alone with no women, brother. Because every time you by yourself with somebody, they say you did something. From now on, there will be somebody around you at all times. Why did Darcy and Stacey get canceled? I think it was just lack of interest in the show. Like, if you look at their show, they've been basically telling the same story for about 2 seasons now. For the entire time. I'm desperate. I want to get married. I don't want to get married. I want somebody young and sexy. I want to marry a model who's 10 years younger than me because I look so young. A sad situation. What's this? Same as people saying that Janelle needs a man now. No, she doesn't. I agree with that. And that's her, like I said, like some people, Christine, she wants to be a pair. Like, she wants to be a part of a couple. She wants to be coupled. There are other people like Janelle who are fine by themselves. Janelle was married twice. Cody is her second husband. So for those who are familiar with the Sister Wives saga, Janelle's one of the sister wives who was married. When she divorced from Cody, she decided that she didn't want to get married again. Like, she's fine being by herself. And to be honest with you, if I was in a situation similar to where Janelle is at, I would be the same way. I would not be looking to jump into another marriage. I would not be looking to jump into a relationship. I'd be like, look, I'm good. I'm done that. Been there, done that. Got the t-shirt, the mug. I got the trophies. I'm good. I'm all right. And even from that respect, I respect the idea that if you are in those types of relationships and you decide that you want to be by yourself, when you are by yourself, you're able to put yourself together. You're able to figure out what it is you want, what you're looking for, and you're able to be honest with yourself about where you're going and what helps you and what obstacles you face, so on and so forth. And then at that point, you're in a better position to find somebody who is going to enhance your life, not make your life. Because that is a substantive difference. If you feel like you have to be with somebody and you have to choose somebody, in Veronica's case, if she doesn't want to be so alone and she's scared of being alone and she's so desperate to be with somebody, that's when you start making decisions based on the idea that this person is going to give you the type of life that you want. They're going to add to you. They're going to help you. They're going to make your life. That's just a wrong-headed way to go about it. Laugh my ass off. You watch Big Bang Theory? There's an episode where Sheldon wants to make friends with, and he goes to the library, and thank goodness Leonard was there to tell him no. Tell you gotta have a friend. You gotta have an honest friend. Excuse me. Yeah, Michael had problems because, he needed somebody who was there for him and not there for what he could give them. And that's actually one of the things that I've always said about money, is that money, there's an old saying that money changes you. It's not the fear that money will necessarily change you. Money will give you the freedom to be the person that you always were. But the problem that you have when you have money or you come into fame or money is that money will change the people around you. So, like, even as we were talking about, like, Dennis Rodman, the guy I pulled up, or Tiger Woods, dorky kid, and nobody was really interested in him, funny looking when he was a child, but then when he becomes an adult and that money looks good on you, then all of a sudden everybody around him starts treating him different. And the sad part is, and this is where you need James' friend to the stars, because the people around you will start treating you differently. And they'll start allowing you to think that you are something that you're not in some cases. That you can go out and just sleep around and, you're messing up your marriage or whatever. You need that one guy friend who's going to say, yo, man, when you go out and you're about to make a mistake, remind you that you married. That's not a bad thing. That guy friend, like guys go out, like I've gone out with guys before, and they're about to make that mistake and be like, yo, you ain't gonna mess this up, man. All that money I put on that tuxedo to go to your wedding, be in your wedding party, no. We're gonna go ahead and pay this tab, and we're gonna go ahead and head the hell up out of here. Mace Chill, yeah, James. Honestly, Janelle honestly needs to reflect because she strikes me as someone who needs a deployed military man that comes and goes. LOL. She likes a part-time lover. Yeah, either that or somebody who's in and out of jail. That way she knows where he's at, know when he's coming over. Cat Bloomfield, thank you for the super chat. Why the F do parents think all celebrities are safe people? This is true. So many little black girls were taken advantage of by R. Kelly. Same with all kids and Michael Jackson. It's like their brains drop out. Yeah. Well, you know what it is? Because it's you get used to the persona or person that you see on screen, and you hope that they are as nice as you would imagine them to be. So you put your good sense in your back pocket and sit on it. It's one of those things where if somebody had came to, like even in Michael's case, like you could make the argument that nothing ever happened or nothing ever came of it. But here's the deal. If Michael worked at the Getty or the Piggly Wiggly, the Sheets, the Wawa, wherever you're from, the Jack in the Box, Burger King, McDonald's, wherever, right? He was a cart boy at McDonald's or a cart boy at Walmart or Target. And he said, hey, I have an inflatable slide in my house. Why don't you let your 3-year-old or 5-year-old son come spend the night at my house? Oh, do you have a child? Nope. Michael might be, if it wasn't Michael, if it was like Miguel or Mikal, he might be picking himself up off the ground, asking somebody, can you borrow their kid for the evening? You know what I mean? It would be problems. But because, you seen this guy on TV, he was on stage and he was doing some fun things and he seems like a big time dude and he has access to all these people and he could do a lot of stuff. The truth of the matter is, thank you so much for that, Cat Bloomfield. Story time. One of the things that I've always talked about, like, I've had some opportunities where I was working in some of, like I've done TV shows and things of that nature. Humble brag. And one of the things that when I talk to people, they say, well, how can I get in that? Or how can I get my kids into, like, do auditions and, get on TV or in movies or whatever the case may be. One of the things that I would always say is that there's a way that you can go about it. You can go here, you can look up this, you can go to these websites and they'll, give you projects and things for you to help build resumes, so on and so forth. But at the end of every conversation, usually at the beginning and the end, I would sandwich it. I would say this one thing, and that's if you have a child and you're trying to get your child involved with anything in entertainment, you never leave your child. You never leave your child alone with people. No matter what they say, they should always have a way for you to be able to observe what's going on set and or during the audition and or during any recordings or whatever the case may be. You can sit your ass on the couch and listen or whatever the case may be. And as long as you're not getting involved, you're not getting in the way, there's no reason why you can't be there. You can't be present. And the reason why you don't trust people is because people will, especially in some of these industries, people will take advantage of your child. They will do things to your baby. And it's, I won't say it's rampant. I've never seen it personally, but I know that it happens. I know that it occurs. So you always want to be mindful of that. And like kind of what Kat had mentioned, a lot of times because it's an opportunity or it's a job, you think of it like, you think of it like as it's being different than a 9 to 5 job, like an office job or whatever. You go to an office job, you say the wrong thing, you down in HR. In some of these entertainment places, scenarios, they treat it as though it's different. I've always approached it like it's a job, so I don't really get involved with a lot of the fraternizing and all that kind of stuff. I've always treated it like it's a job. But you have people who don't, and the way a lot of Hollywood works, and I'm sorry if this is kind of coming off rambling, I don't want to say too much and offend anybody, but the way a lot of people in Hollywood approach children, they turn them into adults. So they, all of a sudden, like if you watch Disney, you watch Nickelodeon, all those kids are treated as though they're adults. If you watch any of those programs, the kids are the ones who are the smart ones. The adults usually are stupid. And the kids are wise. The adults usually don't understand things. And they carry that out. So that's why you hear about like so many of them kids getting messed with, whether it's Nickelodeon, Disney, or some of the other things. But not to get too dark. All right, we'll move on. I hate mornings. My man wouldn't let my daughter dance for Abby Lee. He said he would get in trouble with the law if she said the wrong thing to our child. Yeah. And that's the thing, and I get that, and I agree with that. I hate mornings, and even to touch back on Tim, I think that's part of the reason why Tim's presence in Chloe's life, or even around the guys that Veronica is dating, is important, because it backstops and lets them know that even if Veronica's crazy about you and you got her fooled, you don't have me fooled. I'm watching your ass. So I'm around, I'm talking, and I would always, like I said, especially when it comes to kids being involved, a huge red flag for me is always when you have somebody who wants to get involved with somebody who has a child and they're trying to eliminate or reduce another adult who is in that child's life. That's a huge red flag for me. Like if all of a sudden you don't want, I can't have this person around the kids anymore because they can talk bad about me and make me look bad. I need to pay extra attention to your ass. Michelle said that the industry has a dark underbelly. Yes, it does. And JC said, I like quirky Tim. You know what I mean? Jesus' friend said, I got the bail buddy, boo-boo. That's right. Got the bail buddy. I got open lines of credit at Home Depot and Lowe's. So I can get all the shovels and lime I need. No, I'm just joking. That's a terrible joke. Terrible joke. Don't be that guy. But yeah. So yeah. But I'm going to round it out here. Hopefully you guys had a good time. I know it's a little smaller crowd than we used to, but I'm glad we were able to get some good conversation going back and forth. Have some fun. Got to hook up with everybody. Yeah, Rochelle J., I'm sorry to hear about your pup. It's a sad situation. Yeah. I remember when I lost my rainbow. But stay up on that. But yeah, so I'll be doing more of these. Hopefully you guys can come back. Hopefully you had a good time. You enjoyed it. I'll be doing some more of these, usually on, I think I'm going to try to make Tuesday, maybe Thursday, a mainstay for some of the 90-day content. Or I think I might bounce between 90-day and Love After Lockup on Thursdays. I have to just catch up with some of the Love After Lockup stuff so that I can kind of see where things are. Audrey, don't worry about it. Thank you, Lizzie B. Oh, Marilyn Lopez, appreciate that. Try to give my best insight. And the whole thing is, I try to be as fair as possible with some of these situations. I understand not everybody's experience is the same. There's some guys who are great dudes that, when they come into your situation, you could agree to do some foolishness, and then you guys come back to center, you start your life together, and you have wonderful lives. There are other guys who will use your desperation to be in these relationships as a wedge to get the things out of the relationship that they want. And meanwhile, they're promising you and holding out to you that you can get the things that you want out of a relationship if you just agree to do some foolishness. It'll be fine. If you just agree to do this one thing, it'll be great. Don't worry about it. I got you. And they get you doing some stupid stuff, and then you just wind up feeling bad at the end. And that's where I think that Tim's biggest drawback, again, he has to set boundaries. Veronica has to set boundaries of where her relationship with Tim is going to be. But Tim also has to recognize those boundaries, give her your insight and your point of view, your perspective, then respect her opinion and back off of Veronica's relationship with Jamal and let her do Veronica's relationship with Jamal and focus on your relationship with Chloe and leave it at that. That would be my assessment. Thank you, MJC. 427. Thank you, James. Always a good time. I'm glad you had fun. Another great lives. Thank you. Have a good night, everyone. Yes. Thank you, Mace Chill. And I appreciate the advice. Or at least the tag in with the legal knowledge. Mace coming in. The recovering attorney. Tell you, that legal field, boy, that shit will put a drink in your hand, Jack. You're like, what the shit? Yeah. Cat Bluefin said, don't forget the lie in the bathtub is not plastic. Yeah, unless you want to, unless you feel like cleaning up goop. Because it's busting that plastic. Lizzie B, thank you everybody for being here. Yeah, thank you, James. Yeah, appreciate you, Lizzie B. Appreciate you guys. Audrey Breaker, don't worry, we are going to be doing more. We're going to be doing more, and I'm going to be going live a little more. And I'm also going to be releasing a lot more content as far as my pre-records. Like I have one that I recorded earlier that I'm going to probably finish editing, and I'll put out later tonight, if not tomorrow morning. So you guys will have that. And that'll be sister wife content. And then I might very well tighten up some of this content and just re-release a little shorty for the whole perspective of this. I don't know. I'm kind of balancing it out because I'm not big in the 90-day world yet. Yet I am coming. Oh yeah. I am Mace. I'm glad you said that. I will be doing because there's a lot of stuff that I want to do, but a lot of my stuff gets, because of the algorithm, a lot of it gets cut out. So I will be doing some more stuff on Daughters of the Cult. That changed my mind about a lot of my perspective on Sister Wives. Daughters of the Cult is crazy. For those that aren't aware, just as a quick uptake as I'm rounding out, Daughters of the Cult is on Hulu, and I think it might be some other places. But it's about the LeBaron family. Who is the LeBaron family, just so you have a reference for my sister wife crew, the LeBaron family is in Mexico, out of Mexico. They're polygamists who live in Mexico. When David Woolley said that his sisters are polygamists in Mexico, I think they're tied to the LeBaron group. The interesting fun fact about the LeBaron group, there was a guy named Ervil LeBaron. His brother Joel was supposed to be the prophet. He was tapped to lead the LeBaron group of polygamists as the prophet. Ervil, his brother, started getting a little taste of that money, a little taste of that fame, a little taste of that paper, and he decided that he was going to kill his brother. So he pulled a Cain and Abel, killed his brother, took over the LeBaron group. He then plotted murders. One of the murders that he plotted was actually going after Christine's grandfather. Now, just as a frame of reference, the LeBaron brothers, Joel and Ervil, I think that their sister is Christine's mom. And so her uncles, Christine's uncles, killed her grandfather. because the Baron Group wanted to take over the AUB that was led by a sect of the AUB that was led by Christine's grandfather. It's crazy as hell. It's crazy as hell. And then after he gets locked up, they kill a whole bunch of other people. Like, it's insane. So that's going to be an interesting topic that I'll probably talk about. Maybe I'll do a live on that one. I don't know if that one will fit into videos, but I might do a live on that. Hopefully you guys tune in for that. Natalia Grace, I keep calling her Natalie. Natalia Grace, I want to do a video on that. Crazy. Gypsy Rose, she seems like, I don't know if I'm going to get into Gypsy because there's so much content about her already, but we will see. We will see. And we'll be doing some Love After Lockup stuff. Somebody reached out to me with one of the contacts for one of the cast members. So I'll be following up on that, and hopefully maybe we'll have like a little interview section where we'll be bringing some people in. So we have some good stuff happening this year. Hopefully you guys are tuning in for that. Make sure that you're subscribed. Make sure you ring the bell for notification. Hit that like button. Don't forget to hit the like. Let me know that you guys are digging what I'm doing. Helps with the algorithm and all that good stuff. Yeah. Big Ed live streams. Feel like it's going to be a rose. Is he set up to do the next 90-day season? Oh, he must be on it. I heard him and Liz broke up, which was a disaster. I'm happy for that. Thank you, Valadia. Appreciate that. Good night, everyone. Also, what did Cat say? Michelle, I don't know why, but I read that as a Natalia Grace. Natalia. I was like, these cultists really done lost their mind. Yeah, Natalia Grace. She came from she was adopted. She's a little person. And her story is insane. So that's going to be fun to review that one. Audrey Bringer just said, be careful with them LAL people. Yeah, them LA people. You got to watch them, both eyes. But yeah, thank you guys so much. Lizzie B, they broke up again. What a shocker. Yeah, I think she moved on though. So I'm excited. I think she's engaged to somebody else. But thank you guys for hanging out, man. I appreciate it. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications, hit the like button. Thanks so much for coming down. You guys made this fun. I had a good time. I know you guys are not always as excited about the other stuff, but I'm glad you came through anyway. If you were here for Sister Wives and you heard something a little different about the 90-day fiance. All right, guys. Thank you so much. That's my take. I'm James. This has been My Take on Reality, and I'm out.